The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Big news from Jets ownership. They have hired the 33rd team, which was founded by former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum, to assist with the GM and coach search. We'll talk about what it means and who has a great chance, I believe, to get the job. That and more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go on a Monday. New week for the Jets. They take on Seattle on Sunday. And, of course, there's a lot happening with this football team despite the bye week last week. Before we get into all of it, a reminder, if you want to support me during the holiday season and get yourself a Patreon membership, please do so. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. It includes access to the Discord. Your name in the intro. Couple days left in November. We update the list of names at the end of every month. So join if you want your name added. And, of course, you get discounts on every merch item, bonus shows that are not on YouTube, and a whole lot more. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Let's talk about the news from the Jets. It was announced moments ago. The Jets are hiring the 33rd team. It is a sports football-related company that was founded by former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum. Also part of the organization is former Vikings GM Rick Spielman. Those two are going to be assisting Woody Johnson in the search for the next general manager and head coach of the New York Jets. So Mike Tannenbaum will not be the GM, but he will be heavily involved in the interview process to find the next GM, as will Rick Spielman, who I've mentioned on the show the past couple of weeks. Rick Spielman is the former general manager of the Minnesota Vikings. Spielman last year was hired by the Washington Commanders, their owner Josh Harris, as a consultant, and he helped hire Dan Quinn and Adam Peters to resurrect the Commanders franchise. So Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman are essentially filling in the role of what Charlie Casserly and Ron Wolf were when Woody hired those two as consultants, which ultimately led them to Mike McCagnon and Todd Bowles. So hopefully Tannenbaum and Spielman could do a lot better than the last time Woody was in charge of making these type of hires. Let's also remember this. Woody Johnson has not had to hire a GM or head coach since 2015. It's been a long time. It's been a decade, essentially. Woody was not here when they decided to hire Adam Gase. That was Christopher Johnson. Woody was not here when they hired Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh. That was Christopher Johnson. Now, I'm sure Woody was signing off on it, but he wasn't in the day-to-day running the team then. That was his brother. Woody's going to be involved in these hires. Even if he gets an ambassadorship position with the Trump administration and he goes away to London or wherever, the reality is that wouldn't be till at least February. So the Jets are going to have a new GM and head coach in place by the end of January in all likelihood. So Woody's going to be involved in this. And this move today, I think, is a good move. Because the bottom line is this. You should have no faith in Woody Johnson or Christopher Johnson hiring the right people. Why would you? But you have to ask yourself this question. Who are they bringing in? What's the process to hire these guys? And I think bringing in two respected football people is the right move. Spielman has experience with this last year. And Mike Tannenbaum, say whatever you want about Mike Tannenbaum. This guy hired 3 separate head coaches that all made the playoffs. Eric Mangini, Rex Ryan, and it's true, Jet fans, Adam Gase. He made the playoffs with Miami in his first year. Tannenbaum hired 3 coaches who all made the playoffs. By the way, they all made the playoffs in year 1. I hope Mike Tannenbaum can hire a head coach, and that trend will continue for next year. Wouldn't that be nice? Ending the longest playoff drought in North American sports, but who's counting? It's only been 14 seasons. But the 33rd team is a respected outlet that Tannenbaum started a couple of years ago. they're going to lead this project. In the press release, it says that, they'll lead the project for NFL technology and media company. The 33rd team will provide its data analysis and experience to assist the Jets in the search for new leadership. I mean, we could say the 33rd team. We could say whatever it is. The bottom line is, in the interview process, Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman, two guys who have been GMs for two different franchises, will assist. Spielman, ironically, was the GM of the Dolphins in 2004. Tannenbaum left the Jets after he was the general manager and then became the GM of the Miami Dolphins. So you got two guys who have been GMs for two separate organizations who have hired successful coaches before. I mean, Spielman had a decade-long run in Minnesota as their general manager. I don't see how this is a bad thing, because you don't want Woody and Chris making this move on their own. So you want them to have people in the room who obviously have experience. And that's why I'm on board with this. You could argue, who else could they have brought in? Could they have found better consultants than this? But anything is better than just relying on this ownership group to make the decision. These guys know a lot of people around the league. Tannenbaum is still heavily connected to a lot of guys. He was on the radio last week talking about how attractive this job is and referenced how with the right coach you could turn it around in a year, referenced Harbaugh with the Chargers, referenced Sean Payton with the Broncos. You got to hire the right people. And at least there's two guys that have hired the right people in the past in the room helping with these decisions. Now, is Woody going to listen to what they recommend? I mean, I guess we'll never know. We're not in the room. But, I mean, we had the owner of the team on record earlier this year after he fired a head coach 5 games into the season with a 2-3 record, laughing about the whole thing and telling us that thinking is overrated. Right?
Thinking is overrated.
I would prefer some thought to be involved in these decisions. So I think it's a good move to bring in Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman as consultants. I don't know how anyone could say, how could they do this? I mean, you have to add football people to this decision process. I mean, that to me is a no-brainer. So I like this move, despite how it ended with Tannenbaum. The guy hired 2 separate coaches for the Jets that made the playoffs. This team has not had any success since Tannenbaum was the general manager. And ultimately, I think when it comes to this hire, you also need to find someone that can handle the New York media market, that can handle the pressure of being the Jet coach, being the Jet general manager. And nobody knows what that's like more than Mike Tannenbaum. So I like that he's involved in this. I didn't want Tannenbaum to be the GM again. I thought it was crazy when people say, bring Rex back, bring Tannenbaum back, get the band back together. I thought that didn't make any sense to bring both of them back. And Mike Tannenbaum has already been on the record saying he doesn't want this job, and he's telling the truth. Because he's not going to take the job. He's just going to help the next person to get the job instead. But I am not going to sit here and celebrate this like it's the greatest thing ever. We have no idea who they're going to hire. I'm going to withhold judgment till I see how the process plays out. But I at least feel a little better about the process now than I did previously. The biggest thing I've been asking is who's helping these guys make these decisions. Well, now we know. So I think it's the right move. I'm on board with Mike Tannenbaum being a part of it. And Rick Spielman has a track record a year ago where he helped the Commanders pick Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. And that has obviously worked. So I like it. I think it's a good move. Now, the other aspect of this is, what does this mean for Rex Ryan's chances of getting the job? Does bringing in Mike Tannenbaum mean Rex Ryan has more of a chance to be the Jets coach? And I think the answer to that is yes. But the one thing we don't know, deep down, how's their relationship since it all ended with the Jets a long time ago? Remember, Tannenbaum got fired. Rex didn't. After the 2012 season. Now, Rex got fired 2 years later. But Mike Tannenbaum took the hit. When in reality, the mistake what he made was either fire them both or keep them together for another year. That's how we kind of got into this mess of these half measures the Jets have taken. Tannenbaum and Rex worked together at the company I work for. And thanks to everyone who listened to ESPN New York yesterday when I was on for 4 hours. I'll be on Black Friday this week from 6:30 to 9 after the Michael K show. So tune in then. But Tannenbaum and Rex have worked together now for years, at ESPN. They seemingly have a very good working relationship, right? But deep down, is Mike Tannenbaum going to recommend Rex to get this job again? I don't know how he feels. If he thinks Rex is the best guy for the job, then I think he would. But we don't know deep down how that relationship is, or if Tannenbaum still harbors any negative feelings towards Rex. Basically, how Tannenbaum was blamed for the 2012 6-10 season, whereas Rex got to keep his job. And then they brought in Izek, and it was a mess. Can bygones be bygones, or is there something to that relationship that we don't know? I mean, look, Rex Ryan, I think, is 1,000% going to get an interview now. Now, I've been saying this for weeks that I'd be stunned if he didn't get an interview. I think just out of respect to Rex and how badly he wants this job and his relationship he still has with Woody Johnson, I always felt like Rex Ryan was going to be brought in for at least an interview. But the idea it makes him more likely to get the job, I think that depends truly on, how his relationship is to this day with Tannenbaum. And if Tannenbaum believes he's the right guy for the job. But Rex is going to get an interview. And I definitely think at the bare minimum, he's going to get an interview because they both work at ESPN together. And Tannenbaum's going to have to look Rex in the face and say, hey, we're not giving you an interview. So Rex is going to get an interview. Now, is he going to get the head coaching job? That I don't know. I think it's a long shot still for Rex. But I do think if those two guys have a great relationship and Tannenbaum thinks Rex is the right guy, it could happen. It's not a 0% chance, that's for sure. But I don't see the problem with bringing in two football guys to help with the hiring process. Both have hired coaches before. Mike T has worked in this media market. He does a show on ESPN New York every Sunday, specifically talking about both the Jets and the Giants. So he's astutely aware of what's happened here. I didn't want Mike T as the general manager. But as a consultant, as a guy who could advise Woody on the right candidates to talk to, I have no problem with this. And I think Spielman was also a good decision because the guy has a track record from last year when Josh Harris hired him in Washington as a consultant, and the Commanders have been one of the better stories in the league this year. How they went from the second pick in the draft a year ago to now a team that is likely going to make the playoffs. So if you're just tuning in, the New York Jets have announced that they are retaining the 33rd team to support them on their upcoming GM and head coaching searches. Former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum and Vikings GM Rick Spielman will lead the project for the NFL technology and media company. The 33rd team will provide its data analysis and experience to assist the Jets in their search for new leadership. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line, Jet fans, Asmaniacs, your thoughts on the decision the Jets have made seemingly this morning to bring in Mr. T and Rick Spielman as the consultants to assist with the hiring process. We are presented today by a brand new sponsor. See the hoodie I'm wearing? It is a Public Rec hoodie. Let's talk about Public Rec and specifically the Deal Maker pants, baby.
Introducing the Workday Pant 2.0, a technical 5-pocket pant designed to feel comfortable and look formal. Made from innovative performance fabric that's water and wind resistant for all seasons. It's not just a better feel, it's also a better fit. The Workday Pant is available in waist and inseam sizes to guarantee a tailored look, so you can be comfortable and feel confident always.
Okay, here's the deal, right? I was going to show you guys the pants, but that'd be a weird angle, me trying on the pants live on the air. You're just going to have to trust me. The Deal Maker pants are awesome. They're comfortable. You can wear them to the office. You can wear them on the golf course. Simple as that. I got a promo code for all of you. Cannot recommend these pants enough. Plus the hoodies, honestly. I wear these hoodies all the time. They were nice enough to send me a few of them. Check it out. Go to their website. You'll get 20% off using my code at publicrec.com/Asman. So upgrade the wardrobe. Holiday season's here. If you're thinking about buying something for someone in your life who could use a wardrobe upgrade or just for yourself, check it out. Deal Maker pants, cannot recommend them enough. Whether you're a 30 by 32 or 44 by 36, you'll find the perfect fitting pants online, the most comfortable pants, the most comfortable hoodies. Check it out, publicrec.com, promo code Asman. When you see me out and about and you see me wearing pants, they will be the Dealmaker pants from Public Rec. Shout out to them for being a part of our show. All the info is in the description if you haven't checked it out already. Comments, questions, super chats. They'll cut the line. We'll take some calls coming up on the Gustbuster hotline, but we start off with a super chat here from Felix, who says, at least you can't say the Johnsons are not trying. We asked to get football guys to help with the GM and coaching search, and they did. I agree. And look, I'm going to withhold judgment on who they hire until I see who they hire. I'm going to be fair. But I feel better about the process than I did, an hour ago. The biggest thing I kept asking is, okay, we know they're going to have a new GM. We know they're going to have a new head coach. Who's helping these guys hire those guys? Right? Who's helping them? Well, now we know. I don't see the problem with it. I would ask every Jet fan out there who doesn't like this decision, well, what did you want? Right? That's how I look at it. What would be the alternative? You hired two guys who know football. One guy, the last time this franchise was successful, was the GM here. Understands the media market. Has hired three coaches that made the playoffs. Spielman's been a GM for two different teams. Had a decade-long run in Minnesota. I mean, you got football guys helping the non-football people make the decision. That's what I wanted. The Hamburger says, I like the move. Solid football minds to fix this. Adrian says, I wouldn't mind Rex as our head coach. He'll just need to bring in a really good and established OC. Well, that would be one of the questions you'd ask Rex in an interview. Who's your staff? What's your plan for offense? Why didn't it work the last time you were here, Rex? What have you learned from that experience? And Rex has been very open. He says he's learned a lot. Feels he'd be a much better coach this time around than last time. He's going to get an interview. I'm not saying you hire Rex Ryan, but the idea Rex doesn't deserve an interview is nonsense. I'd rather Rex than a first-time coach from a defensive background. I mean, wouldn't you? Mike D says, so does this mean Sexy Rexy's coming back? I don't think it hurts his chances. I don't know if it means he's coming back, though. I've always felt like Rex, regardless if they brought in Mike Tannenbaum as a consultant or not, was getting an interview. KJH with a super chat for us. Big time money here. Smart move, exactly what we asked for. Football people to help with decisions. 1, might lower Rex's chances. Might not want to seem biased. 2, heard about a former player advisory committee. You think that still happens? I certainly hope so. I'm glad you brought up the advisory committee of former players. Originally this morning, maybe some of you caught it who were tuned in before I changed the thumbnail and title. Originally, I was going to lead with the report from Rich Cimini that an advisory committee of former players is something that could happen for the Jets. That was the lead. And then the Jets announced Tannenbaum and Spielman being hired as consultants. So we changed the title and the thumbnail. However, I do have the audio of Cimini discussing that very thought of a player advisory committee on his podcast. Take a listen.
I do know that some former players have gotten word to Woody that they would be interested in forming some sort of advisory committee to help through the hiring process of the GM and coach. I think that would be something to watch. I do believe, and I'm not the first person to say this, that I think the Jets will hire some consultants to help them through the hiring process. In 2015, they had Charlie Casserly and Ron Wolf. I don't think it'll be those guys again, but I think they could end up with an experienced person assisting them through the interviewing process.
Well, I mean, Rich was right because this podcast was recorded last week, and obviously we got the news today of Tannenbaum and Spielman hired as the consultants. Right move. Now, as far as a player advisory committee, I'm all for it, right? I'm all for more football people who care about the Jets being around this ownership group. I'm all for it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give some love to our guy, Felix Campos. Felix comes back to the show with a super chat, and then he just dropped a 5-spot of channel memberships for the people.
Felix Campos, he wonderful, wonderful guy. He gives a lot of gift memberships and loves the Jake Asman Show.
Take the money.
AZ Jets, August Kapatic, Raleigh, Ed Vargas, and Zach Rosenberg all receiving channel memberships. Love that. Thank you, Felix, for your support. It is truly appreciated because November's been a rough month with the Jets being as bad as they've been for this channel. Flore with a super chat, or Fiore, excuse me. Gruden over Rex, the 33rd team has Jay Gruden on their staff as well. Yeah, that's interesting. Do I think John Gruden gets an interview? I do. I do think John Gruden gets an interview. Who his offensive coordinator would be? It probably would be his brother Jay. I don't know if I love that. But, you know, I'm going to withhold judgment until we get some more info here. I'll tell you what. One thing I do think happens here, Eric Mangini will get an interview to be the general manager, not as the head coach. If what I think happened when Tannenbaum and Mangini were together from 06 to 08 is true, that Mangini had a major influence over the personnel that was picked, why wouldn't you talk to Mangini? Right? I mean, the man genius had some pretty good drafts when he oversaw the personnel with the Jets, with Tannenbaum. So, I like it. I got no problem with that. I don't know if he's going to get the job, but, you know, I just want the Jets to cast a wide net, and I really value experience with this search process. This is not a job for first-timers. It's really not. Not with where the Jets are at right now. Hey, let's give some love to Board Fat. Pretty soon we got to make a Board Fat custom membership video because he has gone above and beyond supporting this channel. Board Fat, this is for you.
Show me the money. Show me the money! Money. There you go.
Sean Weedle, Isaacs EdTech, Nikkei, Gotham Green, and TH3 Entertainment, all receiving channel memberships. Thank you, Board Fat. You are the man. You might be bored. You might be fat. But on this show, you are loved. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. I just realized I didn't pin the Gusbuster hotline link. That is my fault. I will do that shortly here. We will get that pinned. We'll take some calls here from the Asmaniacs on this decision. While we wait for people to join, here's a look at the updated draft order through the results of Week 12. Here's the top 10. You'll see the Jets are at number 7 right now at 3-8. I don't see the path for them getting into the top 3. I really don't. There's too many bad teams in front of them. I think the Jets are going to end up picking anywhere from 7 to 11. That's my feel. A lot of bad teams this year. So, for those rooting for losses, I mean, the Jets could lose out and they might not finish in the top 3. That's how bad the 3 teams in the top 3 are right now. Anyone watch the Giant game yesterday? Good Lord. The Raiders now are starting Desmond Ridder. I mean, Jacksonville's a train wreck. New England's a mess. I don't know. Jets at 7 right now as we approach Thanksgiving week. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Open phone lines if anyone wants in on the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, holy hell, Cincy Matt, where has this been? 10 memberships from Cincy Matt. Wow.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Legendary from Cincy Matt. Thank you, my friend. Chris Peterson, Backbreaker 7-3, Moshe Behar, Jeff, Andre Malone, PR, Jason Picker, Mitchell, 7346, Lauren Shorty, Michael Felice, all receiving channel memberships. You guys know what that means if you've been following the saga the last couple days. The sexy Rexy emoji is about to be live. I just got to add it right now that we hit the membership threshold. Unfortunately, since we didn't hit it yesterday, a bunch of memberships expired. So we needed like another 19 to get over the top. But we're at 20 of the show. So we just hit it. So I'm going to add that momentarily here. Michael with a super chat. Another year where our off season's more interesting than our regular season. Hope we get it right this time. Look, as Jet fans, as bad as it is right now, it was worse in Houston and they got it right. It was worse in Washington and they got it right. It was worse in Detroit and they got it right. You got to hire the right people. The Chargers were a joke last year. They got it right. Like, it could turn around. It's a year-to-year league. That's why it's maddening how bad the Jets have been during this drought. Like, they've had one winning season since they last made the playoffs. One. The Fitz year in 2015. Cincy Matt with an Asmaniac super chat, fresh off gifting a 10 spot. Jake, I thought picking a secondary team with this much talent would have me at least one winning team to root for. WTF, man. You know, it's an interesting question, Matt, and I'm sorry that you joined the Jets just as we're going through the worst season ever. It's an interesting question. What's been more painful, being a Jet fan or being a Bengal fan this year? I think it's the Jets because at least as bad as it's been for Cincinnati, you've been good recently. You were just in the Super Bowl. You have a franchise quarterback who's having an amazing year and has proven he's one of the best in the league. But Cincinnati, you look at Joe Burrow's numbers this year. He's played like an MVP. He won't win the MVP because the team around him stinks. But Joe Burrow has been utterly ridiculous this year. 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, quarterback rating of 107, thrown for 3,000 yards already, completion percentage of 67. And the team stinks. You know, we just showed the draft order here. Look where the Bengals are. They're 10 right now. At 4-7 with a quarterback putting up those numbers. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Comments, questions, super chats. They'll cut the line. You know, I see a lot of comments here from some people. Oh, Jet fans, stop going backwards. I don't think bringing in Mike Tannenbaum as a consultant is going backwards. I think it's a smart decision. He's a football guy. Jet fans are broken. Stop trying to go backwards. I want nothing to do with a former Jet, anything staff related especially. I disagree. Mike Tannenbaum being a consultant is not a bad decision. Would you rather Woody fly by the seat of his pants like he's done this year or listen to football people? Gee, I don't know. Monty McFly writes in, come on, Jake. No Rex, no Mangini, no one from the past. Aaron Glenn would be perfect. Ex-player for the Jets. Runs a top-tier defense. Comes from a winning team. Players adore him. Look, in a different universe, I would really like Aaron Glenn. My hold-up with Aaron Glenn is not that he's not qualified. It's that he's a defensive-minded coach that has never done it before. I don't think the Jets could hire a first-time coach with a defensive background this hiring cycle. They've tried it. They have to either bring in the offensive-minded guy that's a coach for the first time. The number one name is Ben Johnson, although I don't think he'd take the job here. Or you hire someone who's done it before. That's why Mike Vrabel remains my number one. Brian Flores is up there. My dream is Stefanski if the Browns fire him, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Rob V says Seattle minus 1.5. Easiest bet of the week. I think so too. I would bet on Seattle this week. I'm not betting the Jets. At least they're not a favorite this week. Jets with more time to prepare for Seattle after all the drama surrounding them, firing the GM. They're going to go out there. They're going to play a good game at home. I don't know. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We're reacting to the news that Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman have been hired as consultants to assist the Jets with the hiring process. Vinny says, Mike T traded for Tim Tebow. This is such a dumbass move. Okay. Mike T also traded up for Darrelle Revis. Mike T also drafted Nick Mangold and DeBrickashaw Ferguson and traded for Santonio Holmes and Braylon Edwards and Antonio Cromartie. He also hired Rex Ryan. He also hired Eric Mangini. Two guys that made the playoffs in their first years. Rex obviously had tremendous success his first 2 years. Haven't been close to that since. Mike T also hired a coach in Miami that made the playoffs in his first year, and Adam Gase. We can laugh, but that does matter. He's hired people who have won before. So has Rick Spielman. And Rick Spielman consulted last year for the Commanders, who hired Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. So, I don't know. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to bring in football people to help ownership make the football decision. Felix with a super chat. Thank you, Felix. Appreciate you, my friend. I would love Rex. I truly believe he'd get our defense back to the top 5. My biggest concern will be, who does he bring in to run the offense? We have ground and pound with Hall and Allen. Yeah, who's the OC if you're bringing in Rex? That should be everyone's big question. I have no doubt Rex will get this team to play hard. The defense will get back to being an elite defense. But we see in today's NFL that's not enough. It's still an offensive league. Philly Noodles, good move for now. Yeah, look, I'm going to withhold judgment until we see ultimately how this plays out. But as far as the decision to bring people in who know football, I don't think it's a bad move by Woody. Jets carpetbagger, great news. We're celebrating by going to Taco Bell. Baja Blast. I'll tell you what, I had a bit of a Baja Blast this morning after having Taco Bell for dinner last night. I'll leave it at that. Abu Dhabi Jet fan in the house. What's up, Abu Dhabi? Bang! Bang! Also, good to have a guy in this role that Woody knows well and trusts, plus Spielman provides the external voice. Yeah, Woody trusts Tannenbaum, so the idea that he wouldn't listen to him, I think he would. I mean, he sees how bad it's been since he fired Tannenbaum. I think he trusts Mike. I'm not telling you Mike Tannenbaum did everything right as the Jets GM. But can we sit here and not act like it's not impressive that Mike Tannenbaum's 2 coaching hires both made the playoffs? I mean, come on now. I don't think Rex is getting this job, but I feel better about Rex getting this job if Tannenbaum, after all this, after he got fired and Rex didn't after 2012, would still recommend Rex. They do this whole search, and Rex is the guy they come away with. Jets carpetbagger, always or mostly bad to hire a coach from college? Well, it depends on your view on how you look at a guy like Jim Harbaugh. He came from college, but guess what? He was an NFL guy first. Whereas Nick Saban was a college guy who then went to the NFL and didn't have success. Urban Meyer, the same thing. Who's the guy from college you would consider hiring? That'd be my question. Snowball says, can the Jets come up with 4 candidates and put up a poll for fans? I think Rex would win if they did that, Snowball. We ran the poll on this show, and I was shocked how many people were on board with Rex. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. Gator writes in with a good question. Any thoughts on the rumored trade for a coach option written about what's it worth to you for Kyle Shanahan? I mean, I would trade this year's first-round pick for Shanahan in a second. I don't care where it ends up. Honestly, if we're being real, Shanahan's probably worth a full draft. That might be crazy to some. I don't think it is. All right? We all agree this team is held back by coaching. You're hiring a top-5 coach. That's not worth a draft class? Plus, the guy is a quarterback guru. Not what Adam Gase was labeled to be, but actually a quarterback expert. Look at the quarterbacks he's had success with. I think he's worth the whole draft, but I would trade my first in a second. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. I don't think the Niners are dumb enough to fire Kyle Shanahan. Gusbuster Hotline is open. Let's say hello to Kyle Clifton, who's first up. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, Jake, how are you? If Rex were to get an interview, I would be interested to see how we would answer the question, what would you change about your tenure with the Jets the first time around? How would you modify your approach? I don't think that Tannenbaum is going to have an inclination towards recommending him one way or the other. He's going to have to make a case that is solid. He's gonna have to blow the doors off an interview, I think, Rex, to get serious consideration. I like the fact that Spielman is more of a personnel guy, and then that Tanny has more of a business background. He was more of the capologist originally, who kind of grew into the GM role and made some good hires. You make a pretty good case for some of his Jets hires. I mean, obviously Gase, there were some mixed results depending on the market. But I'm kind of heartened by the fact that they're trying something a little bit different. This is the first time the 33rd team has done this specifically. I think pitched in to help find a GM coach combo. And seeing as how Corn Ferry didn't have a whole lot of success with us working with them, then maybe it's time to try a new tack. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, to your point, it might be the first time 33rd team is doing this, but it's not the first time Spielman himself did it because he did it last year, which I like. I like that he was involved in a very similar process, needing GM, coach, and all likelihood quarterback, and look what they ended up doing.
He was involved with the Washington hires? Is that what you're saying?
He was the consultant that they hired last year, and he recommended Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, and that's been obviously very good for Washington this year.
Very good. Not a negative step, I don't think.
Yeah, look, ultimately, it's a results business. We'll see who they hire and how it works out, but I feel better about these guys than just Woody flying blind doing this on his own.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jake.
Kyle, appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, some exciting news. The sexy Rexy emoji has just been added for all channel members. Thank you to Snowball for making this beautiful new channel emoji. Is Rex going to get the job? Sexy Rexy, back. Jet coach. Tannenbaum, consultant. Will he recommend Sexy Rexy? Find out next.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him Sexy Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me Sexy Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy.
God, I've waited so long to be able to have the emoji ready to roll as we play that. Let's go, baby. Hit the like button. If you can't like and subscribe to this channel after that, I don't know what you're doing, man. All right. Find me another Jet channel. It's going to give you a Sexy Rexy singing like that one. Thank you to Gator. We're at 40,394 subscribers right now. We get 6, we'll be at 40,400. So can we get 6 this show? I think we can. I think we could do it. I have faith in the Asmaniacs. How's everyone recovering from yesterday's beatdown the Jets suffered? Been tough. I've only seen this joke made 1,000 times yesterday. Jets lost to the bye week. Woo! I know. Right-handed downtown Brooklyn says, old Jet fans want Rex back ASAP like me. Rex is not my number one choice. I want to be clear. But I'm not against it like some are. There's guys I have ahead of him, like Mike Vrabel, Brian Flores, Stefanski if he's fired, Ben Johnson. I think Rex is number 5 on my list. Maybe I'd put Monk in 5, and then I'd put Rex 6. I don't know. I love Rex. I just, as much as I love him, I just have a bad feeling it wouldn't work. I'm not saying it wouldn't be better next year. I think it would, but I don't know. But let's be real. If you're fading against the Jets, chances are no matter what they do, it's not going to work. That's what history tells you. But eventually teams can turn it around. I mean, the Lions have turned it around. Houston's turned it around, yesterday aside. By the way, how come no one talks about C.J. Stroud regressing big time this year? How come no one talks about that? I know in Houston they're talking about it. How come that's not a story nationally? How come no one has the balls nationally to criticize C.J. Stroud? Anyone watch that game yesterday? They lost to the Titans at home. Just saying. If I was on the radio in Houston, I know what I would be saying. Because, just like Mike Tannenbaum, I've done that job, baby. Just like Mike Tannenbaum's done that Jets GM job. He knows. I've done the afternoon drive in Houston before. This shows you, the Jets are the biggest story in the NFL. They're 3-8 at their bye week. No one's talking about the fact that C.J. Stroud, who was thought to be the next great quarterback, top 5 in the league, has had a bad sophomore season. Just saying. Jersey Joe is up next. What's up, Jersey Joe?
Hey, Jake. How are you?
I'm hanging in, man. What do you got?
2 things. One, I wondered, how's that hiring process go with the GM? So once they hire a GM, is it like an open hiring, like coaches will like inquire about the job, or are GMs reaching out to coaches? I say this because I think my number one candidate is Vrabel. You know, I went back, I was watching some of his playoff wins with the Titans, and he went into New England and he played and he beat Brady and Belichick, which, you know, you put that on your resume, like, you know, right? You put it on your resume, and that's you know, good for it. So looking back, like, he had a pretty average.
Try again, Jersey Joe. The internet connection was choppy. Look, how does the process typically go? My understanding is in these general manager interviews, one of the questions is, who are some head coaching candidates you'd want to consider for the job? And then that guy will provide names. That's typically how it goes. Now, it does seem like the Jets want to hire their GM first, then coach, which I think is the right way to go about it. I would imagine any GM candidate they speak to would have Mike Vrabel on their list, though, for example. Why wouldn't you? Right? Among guys who are not head coaches that have done the job before with the resume that Mike Vrabel has, I'd imagine every team would have him on their list as someone they want to speak to. Felix with a super chat. How would you feel if Rex brought in a college OC from college like Bieniemy or Will Stein? No, I'm Bieniemy. Don't know enough about Will Stein. Don't know enough about him. He's the OC of the Oregon Ducks. I mean, I'm not necessarily against it. Bieniemy, I don't think Bieniemy's any good. I think there's a reason why no one's hired him. Think about that. No one wanted him. And his one opportunity to be an OC without Mahomes didn't go well in Washington. City Bert, super chat, cuts the line. Is Tyrod Taylor a viable bridge quarterback if they don't like the draft? I think he is. He's under contract. He's cheap. He's been a bridge before. Here's the thing, though, with Tyrod. He always gets hurt. So who's the backup to Tyrod? Because if it's Jordan Travis, he's playing a lot next year. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know what he is. City Bird. CJ threw 8 to 10 drop picks last year. It was obvious. I mean, he just has not been as good this year. Hasn't been as efficient. He's turned the ball over way more. Yesterday was brutal. No one talks about it, though. You know, the internet just decided any bad play Will Levis makes, we got to highlight it and make fun of it. But C.J. Stroud throws 2 terrible interceptions yesterday. No one says a word. The Hamburger is up next. What's up, Hamburger?
Hey, what's up, Jake? What's up, Bassmaniacs? So I like the move. Listen, you know, I don't think this is a retread. This isn't going back. These are just 2 football minds coming in to help Woody find out some new talent and some new GM and coaching. I think it more has to do with the coach, not the GM, obviously. I mean, the GM, not the coach. But I like it. It's not like, to me, I don't want Rex. You know that. You know how I feel about that. And I don't think it gives Rex even a more of a chance to get in the door. Yeah, he probably gets an interview, but listen, I think this organization's ready to start new and get a fresh perspective on everything. I think old retreads are kind of out the door. That's my perspective on it. I'm happy about it, man. If whoever's not happy about it and thinks it's a retread, you're crazy. Tannenbaum had a lot of good success in finding people, finding good coaches, and finding talent. So, you know, and you're right, Jake. Since then, we've had nothing since he's been here. So I don't mind. I don't mind him in the front office. You know, it gets everybody else out of there, and it gets solid football minds making decisions, which I think we need in this organization.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're not sitting here saying Mike Tannenbaum or Rick Spielman are this team's GM. I don't know. I wouldn't want that. But we're talking specifically about voices in the room who have done the job and have done the job in this market, in the case of Tannenbaum, helping ownership make a decision. How is that a bad thing?
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. I like the idea. You know, it's and seriously, what do we think? Curtis Martin's going to come in and find the GM? I mean, that's what, you know, a lot of fans are looking at, like a Curtis Martin or you know, a Pennington and stuff like that. No, you want real guys that have really done it and really searched through the NFL as coaches and have experience getting these coaches. It's good. It's probably going to be, you know, those guys will probably have somewhat of a voice of being involved with it a little bit. But I think this was the right move by Woody. Finally, something I agree with that he's done over the last year.
Yeah, look, I'm totally with you. Good call, Hamburger. Ultimately, these moves will be judged based on if they work or not. But I have been someone screaming for the last couple of weeks here. Once it became obvious they were going to have a complete teardown as far as GM and coach goes. Okay, we all could say fire Saleh, fire Douglas. Then what? What's the process to hire the guys who replace those guys? Who's assisting ownership? Because they need help. It's okay to ask for help. I don't expect Woody and Chris to know what great GM candidates and head coaching candidates look like. They're not supposed to know. But they have the resources to bring in people who do know, who can help them. And that's why I'm on board with this move. Jared B says, bring in Joe B. Bring in Joe B. Let Joe B in the interview process. Why not? Bro, you kidding me? I'm in.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
Well, Joe, I think, will like this because he wanted Tannenbaum back, but Tannenbaum said he didn't want to be the GM when asked about it. So he's getting Tannenbaum back, but just not as the GM, as a consultant. City Burt writes in, let's talk ticket prices this year and next. I mean, they shouldn't be increased, but they've already decided they are. Let's see. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Old Jets fans is up next. Hello, old Jets fans.
What's up, Jake?
Is that your given name at birth, old Jets fans?
Not at all. I just named it that right now for this. But I've been a Jets fan since Ken O'Brien, McNeil, Freeman McNeil, and now Toon. So I just gave it my age, but 45 young. But anyway, I want Rex back. Period. You know why I want Rex back? He cares. He loves the Jets. And one more thing, he brought us to 2 AFC championships back to back with Mark Sanchez as a rookie. With Mark Sanchez, I speak for itself, I speak volumes. Last time he was in the playoffs was Rick Rex. Enough said. Bring him back. At least give him 1 year, 2 year contract. It's Rex all day, baby. Rex all day. I never wanted to get rid of him.
You would choose Rex over Mike Vrabel?
Rex over all of them, bro.
All right.
Rex over all over them. But what Mike Vrabel do? He took his team to back-to-back AFC championships.
No, but he was a head coach for 6 years, just like Rex. He won more games than Rex won.
He's good. Respect. He's good. I mean, he's good, but Rex is Rex, baby.
I get it.
Rex.
I get it. Look, I love Rex Ryan, but it's a long time ago. It's 14 years since they last had success as a franchise with Rex. 14 seasons. And while I would say Rex, I thought actually did a great job in 2013 because that team was not any good and they went 8-8. The reality is Rex Ryan did not have winning seasons in 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. He had 2 winning seasons as the Jet coach. They were 8-8 in 2011. They collapsed. They were 8-5. They were 6-10 in 2012. They were 8-8 in 2013. They were 4-12 in 2014. Now the 4-12 was all Isaac and him jiving, butting heads, not jiving, I should say, and that the roster was trash. I understand all that. And I do think Rex has learned a lot from that experience, but Mike Vrabel to me is a better option. He's coached more recently. He's had success more recently. He went to an AFC title game with Ryan Tannehill, right? We talk about Rex going with Sanchez. Tannehill's pretty similar to what Sanchez was as a player. Vrabel hired 2 offensive coordinators that became head coaches. The issue Rex had was post-Schottenheimer. His offensive coordinator hires were awful, right? Tony Soprano, 2012, how'd that work? So I love Rex, but I can't sit here and say I would choose Rex over Vrabel or even like Brian Flores. But Rex is in my top 5. I'm at least giving him an interview. I at least want to know who his staff is. I want to know how, a prospective GM would work with Rex. I'm open-minded to it. I love Rex. I think Rex does deserve an opportunity to interview. But he's not my number 1. I don't think it's just Rex and you just hire him and then call it a day. Let's see. Super chat from AZ Frankie here. Monken or Flores are realistic options. Vrabel don't come. I don't know if Vrabel is not realistic. I think we got to see. I'd take Kingsbury also. We cannot afford to screw this one up again. I am cooked with them. Look, these are incredibly important hires. They cannot screw this up again. I mean, this team has not made the playoffs in 14 years. They have to get this right. Dre says, Tannenbaum to find talent will get us Kyle Wilson of GMs and coaches. I don't know about that, Dre. You're not going to give Tannenbaum any credit for his 2 coaching hires he made? You're not going to give Tannenbaum any credit for some of the trades he made and some of the free agent signings he made? It ended poorly, but we can't dispute the 2008 Jets might have been the most talented team that this franchise has had since at least 98. We can't dispute the moves he made in 09 and 10 to solidify the roster that he built that was already in place. It's a while ago, I get it, but it's not like Tannenbaum hasn't still been around in football. He's not the GM. He's in the interview process. He ultimately hired 2 coaches that made the playoffs with the Jets, hired another one in Miami that made the playoffs. I trust Mike Tannenbaum more than I do Woody Johnson with these hires. And it's not just him. He's got Rick Spielman there who did this job last year for Washington and recommended Peters and Quinn. Kyle Clifton with a super chat. Andy Weidel from Pittsburgh for GM. Let him pick coach. I guess he's the Steelers' assistant GM. I have no problem, looking at the Steelers as an organization you want to pluck from. That makes sense. Carpetbaggers. Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart. I'm good on the college coach. No, thank you. To me, Jim Harbaugh is different than Sark or Kirby. Plus, I don't know if they'd want this job. Why would they want to leave their setups at Texas and Georgia? I don't think they would leave. Comments, questions, your super chats, they will cut the line on this very program. Let's say hello right now to Tony, who's next. What's up, Tony? Love the shirt, my man.
Yo, Jake, how you doing, my brother? Good to see you, man.
You too, dude. Appreciate the support.
Hey, man. So, to the Asmaniacs, I just want to let you guys know a couple things. One, your boy Jake is a man of his word, okay? I joined the fantasy football league for the Asmaniacs, and I told Jake, I said, hey, if you win, I'll buy you an Asmaniac shirt, and if I win, I get one. And so, hey, your boy, he followed through with the bet. Got this beautiful Asmaniac shirt, so I'm very excited. Thank you very much, Jake. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Tony. Looks good on you. And look, you won fair and square. My team didn't perform that week, and you got the dub.
Well, to be fair, man, you were. It was the London game, so I'm pretty sure you were a little too preoccupied, hitting the pubs and stuff to set your lineup. But hey, nevertheless, it's been a blast. So I'm enjoying being in the league with you guys.
Appreciate that, man. What are your thoughts on the Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman news?
Oh, geez, man. I'm just really sick of talking about – I feel like I've been talking about the draft and coaches for like 3 years straight. Ever since we got Rodgers, it's like, oh, I can't wait for the draft. Oh, who's the next coach and GM going to be? And I'm just done with it, man, to be honest with you. I think we should just hire some we need more Jets, like ex-Jets players like Bart Scott, Wayne Corbett, Curtis Martin. Like, give me some of these guys who just bleed Jets, you know what I mean? And let them go up there and start making decisions because all the guys we've been hiring, they ain't doing it. So give me some real just people that bleed green and let them go to work. That's my thoughts.
Well, I'll tell you what. I understand what you're saying, and I do like the fact that some players have apparently reached out to Woody, former players, trying to form some sort of advisory committee. According to Rich Samedi, that's happened. But like Bart Scott, I love him. He's not qualified to pick a coach or GM just because he was a good Jet. You know what I mean? Like I love the passion, but like Tannenbaum makes sense because he's actually been in that role. He's been in this market. He's hired guys who have done the job well. Like that to me is smart by Woody doing that. And Spielman did the job last year for Washington.
But how does Tannenbaum always talk about the Jets? Oh, when you ever hear him commentating, he's always talking terrible about the Jets. I think he's got some bitter, thoughts about the Jets from years
I mean,
past.
Tony, the Jets have been terrible. What do you want him to say? You want him to lie to you? They've been terrible.
Nah,
I talk
you're
terrible about the Jets. I love the Jets.
Yeah, I get that, man. It's rough. It's a rough time to be a Jets fan, I'll tell you what. But you know what? I want something good for us, man. We deserve it. We have so much passion in this fan base. It's ridiculous. I went to the Titans game. I recently moved to Nashville. Went to the Titans game, and it was like 70% Jets fans. I can't even tell you. It was ridiculous. We travel so well. We deserve so much better than what we've been getting. It's kind of rough, man.
Hey, look, it's been brutal. There's no doubt. What you have to hope happens is they bring in the right people and they can get it right, because that's the only way this changes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Tony,
sir.
I appreciate it, man. Good call. Appreciate the support. Rocking the hat, the shirt. Love it. Look, the bottom line is you either get these hires right or you don't. I mean, that's how this decision to bring in outside help will be viewed. That's it. It's a good move if it works. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something brewing in the chat right now that needs to be addressed immediately. Alan writes in, I miss Dre Correa when he went AWOL, when he went AWOL. Alan then wrote, my advice, Dre should stay AWOL. To which Dre wrote, not Alan talking about someone taking a break when you disappeared until Salah got fired. Bitch, watch your mouth before your wife grounds you. Now, let's be fair here, Alan. You did disappear for months, and then you showed up when Salah got fired. You fraud. So I'm backing Dre with this one, 100%. I think the Jets should just make Allen the GM. He's never wrong. Same with Gary. Let them run the franchise. One's the coach, one's the GM. They've never been wrong, and that's great because the Jets will never lose if they run the team, right? That's how this works. At least that's what I'm led to believe based on their commentary on this channel. I mean, right?
The only thing better than all these shoes is sexy Rexy, because he also loves feet. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody, and man, these Jets are depressing.
You hit that. Allen and Gary will be in good hands, baby.
More so Gary. Gary's never been wrong about anything ever, let alone any football opinion. So Gary, I think, is the general manager. I mean, what could go wrong? Only things will go right.
Yeah, no, Gary will tell us before the year that we have a roster that can win the Super Bowl, but then he'll fire his GM a couple weeks in. Oh, man. So Tannenbaum. How do I feel about Tannenbaum? I mean, I feel like Woody trusts him. That's important. You know, you need someone who you trust, you have a relationship with. That's why we brought up that's why Myers brought up Curtis Martin, because it's like someone who is a Jet. But I still will die on the rock saying I do not want another defensive coordinator to take the head coaching job. Do I like Flores? I do, but I have a lot of questions about Flores. I still don't feel comfortable about how he handled the Tua situation, because he made everyone, including the team, how they feel about Tua, to think he was a pile of dog crap. And then you give him an offensive-minded coach who you know, yeah, he had to coddle him and bring him into his arms and hug him. But, I mean, I hated on Tua a lot. But when you watch Tua, I mean, he's pretty good. He can run an offense. You give him a good offensive. Just look at what Mike McDaniels is. Dolphins are back in it. I hate to say it, but Tua's back. Dolphins are 5-6. They're probably going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but you don't think he's maybe learned from that experience? I mean, he said as much. And also, like, unlike other guys who immediately get back in as coaches, he's been away. Like, as far as being a head coach, he's paid his dues. He went with Mike Tomlin as an assistant for a year. Now he's been a great defensive coordinator for the Vikings for the last 2 years, learning under Kevin O'Connell. You know, watching Sam Darnold come in as a quarterback who's kind of bounced around and get real coaching on what that could do. Like, I think he deserves an opportunity. Also, you know what he does too? He's a hard ass. He holds guys accountable. He'll change the culture. They need the opposite of what has been basically,
agreed.
A fluff fest the last 6 years.
I agree with that. I think he's done fantastic as a D coordinator, and he is learning over there. I have a trust issue with him. But forget the Tua stuff. Also, with what he had going on against the NFL, I'm just like, did he learn his lesson? Is he a hothead? Could he do that to us, where he has a good roster? He's running us. We like him as a coach, but then he wants to open his mouth. I don't trust Flores 100%. I do love him as a candidate, but
well, these are the questions you'd ask him. You'd ask him in the process. Also, I'm not worried about anything that he has between other teams in the NFL. Like he got screwed over in Miami. There's a reason why Miami got docked a first-round pick that offseason. It's because they got caught trying to do the old ring around of bringing in Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Like that's what happened. Like it happened because the NFL took away a first-round pick. That's how serious and legit that was. So I mean, this guy in Miami turned the Dolphins around. He overachieved, and he never really had great quarterback play. The questions I would have is who his offensive coordinator is. But, what if he brings Josh McCown with him, who's the quarterback coach in Minnesota, right? Like, that would excite me. Flores and McCown as the OC. Like, that's a pretty good staff.
I like that, too. One thing Rex would have, though, as soon as he came in, right, not only would he have the entire fan base, most of the fan base behind him, but he already holds weight in what he says being here. He's done it before. Not that I know it's been a long time since he's done it, but his defensive philosophy is kind of coming back into play where it's an attacking, the box is full, you don't know who's coming, kind of like Flores. They run a very similar scheme. And I just think I would prefer Rex and a formidable veteran offensive mind like Dable. That's who because I know he's fired. I would love a Rex Dable Dorsey combo. I don't want Aaron Glenn unless it's a package deal like Alan keeps talking about, where you're getting everybody from there. All three would come. I just don't think they're going to want to come to this organization. I would love Vrabel. I'm with you on that, but I do think that there is weight to he's from New England, and I don't think he'd come here. I hope I'd be wrong with that, but I don't think he'd come here personally. But I would love Vrabel. I mean, he's got the weight. He's been to the AFC Championship with Tannehill. He has that mindset of he's messed with Mahomes in big games. Tennessee was giving them the most trouble those years of them being in the playoffs, low scoring games.
He's a good coach. I would try and hire him. If he doesn't want the job, okay, you can't force him to say yes, but you try. Also, I think you come across as way more of a legitimate organization if you have two former GMs that are in the room with the process. It shows a prospective candidate they're serious about getting it right, that they realize what they don't know by hiring people who they do know.
Yeah, no, I love bringing in someone that Woody trusts and bringing in anybody. At least, Tannenbaum wasn't great after his 2 years of free agency and whatnot. He made a couple bad moves. I'll always remember how, I don't know who to completely blame, but you got to, I guess, put on the GM when he let go of Kotchery and Braylon. That was the demise of us, honestly. When he picks Antonio Holmes over and brought in Derek Mason and let Kotchery and Braylon walk, I'm sure Rex had a say in that too. But imagine if we get Rex Ryan and Rex Ryan comes, Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year, we probably would be the most hated team in the NFL between everyone hating Rex and hating Rodgers. And with what Rex would be, how he would be talking smack, it would have us all pumped. Would it translate to the field? I don't know, but if you give him a good offensive coordinator, Rex has never had a real quarterback. He's had Sanchez and Tyrod, and that's basically it. So I'm on board with Rex if you get the right coach, offensive coach under him. And I don't know, man. Rex is a good recruiter, bro. He'll go to your door and knock on it and be we need a guy like that. We can't bring another Todd Bowles guy. It's got to be a guy who can handle the media as well and handle the pressure. And at least Rex has proven to everyone that he can do it in New York, because New York has a way of ruining you, and you don't even realize. You think you're ready, Aaron Rodgers. You think you're ready for New York, and then you come here and you experience it. And we ain't easy, baby. We go hard in the paint. So
It's a hard, Bonesy, it's a hard job, which is why I truly value experience this go around. Really, for both GM and coach. Like if you told me they hired John Dorsey and Mike Vrabel or Brian Flores, I'm in. Experience. Dre writes in, Bonesy, just remember Kyle Wilson. Dre, if we're going to pick apart every bad draft pick a GM has made, let's start with some of the best in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan / John Lynch. Trey Lance. Howie Roseman. Jalen Reagor. Instead of Justin Jefferson, who went a pick later. You don't bat 1,000 when you're a GM. And Mike Tannenbaum is not the GM. He's being brought in as a consultant. He's in the interview process. He's asking questions to candidates. He's identifying candidates that would make sense, that can handle New York. The temperament that it takes to be the GM here. It's not easy. So, yeah, Mike Tannenbaum made some mistakes, but also he was influenced by what Rex wanted too. You don't think Tannenbaum deferred to Rex on Kyle Wilson? Rex couldn't wait to tell everyone that he was the reason why they took Quentin Coples. How'd that work out? Tyrone writes in, the only mistakes for me Tanny made was getting Mason and Plax and let Braylon and Koch go. I mean, he made more mistakes than that, but that was the beginning and the end. When they let Kotry go, it was inexplicable how they made that decision. Look how many more years Kotry still played after he left the Jets and played at a high level. He went to the Super Bowl in 2015 with the Panthers. Plaxico wasn't the worst move. Derek Mason was horrendous. Oh, that was such a bad move. I hated it at the time. Brooklyn Bourne says, I'd be good with Ray Agnew for GM and Brian Flores for head coach. Agnew's a name to watch, right? He's the assistant GM in the Lions. He came over with Brad Holmes from the Rams together. I mean, for what it's worth, the 33rd team published a recent list of prospective candidates for GM jobs, and Agnew's name was on it. I'd imagine he's a name the Jets will talk to. Mike Borgonzi was on that list. He's the Chiefs assistant GM. Ed Dodds, the Colts assistant GM. Jeff Ireland, the Saints assistant GM. A name to watch as well. He'd be getting a second chance at being a GM, but he got royally effed over his first time. And trust me, I was in Houston. I know all about it, is Brian Gaine, who's the Bills assistant GM. He got railroaded by Bill O'Brien. He was brought in to be the GM, and then Bill O'Brien immediately backstabbed him and won a power struggle and took control of the organization. Now, Bill will tell you, oh, well, Gaine proved he was incompetent. He didn't get enough time. He didn't get enough time. He got a year. He got a year. Texans were 11-5 in 2018 with Gaine. He was handpicked by Bill O'Brien after Bill O'Brien, you guessed it, won a power struggle with Rick Smith to take over. And Bill O'Brien just said, I don't think he's the guy anymore. I'm getting rid of him. I'm telling you, the Texans were such a bleep show. Way worse than what the Jets currently are for a long time. And they seemingly have now figured it out. It can be done. Ant-Man says, Jake, how do you hire the right GM and head coach if none of the good candidates want the job? See, I would push back on, quote, none of the good candidates want the job. There's only so many of these jobs. And you were paid handsomely. It's generational wealth we're talking about. And it's all guaranteed. J Quest writes in, Bobby Midnight for Secretary of Smelly. J Quest. You going up and in on Bob? Let's hear from Bobby right now.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Jake Quist just has a big mouth. Don't pay attention to him. He's doing his laundry at his house right now. And he's cutting up some chicken, and his wife's yelling at him while he's cutting up some chicken. Don't worry about it. What about that other guy that was mentioned, and the second guy you mentioned today?
What guy?
Won't they hire him as a GM? You said he's good.
Rick Spielman?
Yeah.
Rick Spielman. Well, he had his time. He's just going to do what Tannenbaum's doing, consult.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. I didn't say he was good.
Why are you mumbling? Can you enunciate?
I thought you said he was a good GM.
He had a decent run. I mean, he didn't win a Super Bowl or anything, but he was a GM of a team for 10 years. That's not nothing.
All right. So do you see what the Giants did this week? Last week got rid of Daniel Jones.
No, I missed it.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
Really?
I would have been a good GM for them.
Who played quarterback for them yesterday?
Oh, not Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito.
Oh.
Yeah. Which they only scored 7 points. So.
Really? So
And
they
look
must
at
have won, they
Barkley.
must have won 7-3, right?
No, they lost 30-7.
Oh, okay.
And then Barkley ran for 2 touchdowns this thing.
Did he really?
Yeah, see, if I was the GM, I would have kept Barkley and got rid of smelly pants, Daniel Jones.
I don't know, but Jay Quest says you're smelly.
Yeah, I am smelly. Jake Quest is smelly too.
Is he?
So, yes, he
How do you know? Have you met him?
He smells like that back end of a caboose.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's him. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it.
No, it's good to have you on today. It's nice to see you. How was your radio show yesterday?
It was good. We talked about the Giants and Daniel Jones being released.
I know, right? That was. I saw that whole game yesterday. Oh my god! There was a few pretty good stuff that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And I wish won yesterday. Who played Kansas City yesterday?
The Panthers.
What?
The Panthers.
Yeah, I wish they won. Man, they get so lucky. The Chiefs, it was pathetic. I was cheering for the Panthers. I was really. He played pretty good. Young, he did pretty good. Yes.
Yeah.
As a rookie, good. All right, so you do good. Have a great show.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah, well, you got other people in the back, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but you usually me to keep it short because I talk too much.
Well, if you had more points, that was going to allow you to make them.
No, not for now. Maybe later.
You good?
You got second show. I'll think about more stuff to talk about.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye now.
All right, Bob. Farewell.
Well, I'm getting really freaking pissed. I thought I saw Gary's pretty wife. I need to get some sleep. I'm Bobby.
Thank you to Bobby Midnight. Nate wanted me to ask you, Jake, can you ask Bobby if he's ready? So, Bobby, you could respond in the chat. Let's see. Purple Belt Mike wants to know, what was the worst free agent ever? Tremaine Johnson, ? In Jet history, I mean, Tremaine's up there. Worst free agent signings in Jet history. Tremaine Johnson's up there. Le'Veon Bell is certainly up there. Derek Mason is up there. We're just talking about him. I'm sure I'm missing some obvious ones. Let's think. I'm just trying to go through like recent regimes here. I mean, like CJ Uzomah was a bad one, but it's not like one of the worst ever, for example. Laken Tomlinson, I think, should be in that conversation. No one talks about that Joe Douglas move. Honestly, it's more of a trade. Mecole Hardman, I mean, these are one-year deals, though. If we're talking about, like, big money, I think Lakin's up there. Neil O'Donnell, if you really want to go back. Tremaine, definitely up there. Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson, unfortunately, got hurt, but he's in the conversation. I see the chats all over that. Yep. Yeah, I think we covered the big ones. I mean, there's some smaller ones like, Mecole Hardman to a one-year deal, or Dalvin Cook last year, for example. I think we covered the big ones. Someone wrote Lazard. Honestly, Lazard is, it's not a great signing, obviously, but it's not nearly as bad because he's been competent this year when he played. Is he coming back this week, Bob? I don't think, we looked this up before the bye. Lazard's not eligible to come off IR until the Miami game. Kyle wrote in Neil O'Donnell. Yeah, Neil O'Donnell's definitely right there. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to VZ. Hello, VZ.
What's up, Jay? Well, this is my first time being on, man. I enjoy your show.
What's up, VZ? Welcome aboard.
Yeah. I'm a Jets fan from Arkansas, man. I became a fan in 2010 when they was on a playoff run.
From Arkansas?
From Arkansas.
Oh, my God. Why'd you pick the Jets? Just because they were good in 2010 and you were like, I want a team?
Bart Scott won me over with the can't wait. I'm like, this is a scrappy team. I got to roll with them.
Wow.
Been downhill since, but I'm sticking with them.
Well, I respect the loyalty, but that is wild, man. You joined thinking, oh, here's this young team. It's going to be good. And nope.
Yeah, they got me, man. Get my hopes up every time. But, hey, I don't care who they hire this year. I just want to succeed, man. We got to turn something around, Jake. They just beat me in the ground. They cut me deep this year. I had high hopes, man. But I would like to have an offensive coach, though. I think, we moving away from Aaron Rodgers and we get a young quarterback or something, or anybody. I would just like an offensive coach. We can get a good defensive coordinator, but I don't care, man. Just whatever we do, I just want to win at this point, man.
I think we all do, VZ. Good call. I feel your pain. It's easier said than done, obviously, but it can be done, is the point I'd like to emphasize. How about that? A Jet fan in Arkansas. Man. Hey, I want to shout out our most recent Patreon member. Bailey just joined the Patreon during the show. Bailey, thank you. Also want to give some love to CB Nasty, Victor Cortez, and Paul Ledger for being our most recent Patreon subscribers. Join before the month ends if you want your name added to the intro. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. More of your calls coming up. Super chat from Godfather, Rex head coach, Dable OC, Fields QB1. I wouldn't bring in Fields. I'd be on board with Rex and Dable, though. Now, I will say, Dable's not done a good job this year. I think the team itself is just a mess, right? I think they quit once they realized they benched Jones because they're trying to save money. I think Dable might be in over his head at this point as a head coach. But I think he could be a good play caller. I'd be okay with him as the offensive coordinator. I'd be on board with that. I have a clip I wanted to play from Mike Greenberg's radio show earlier today. Rex Ryan, who always goes on with Greeny as a guest on Mondays, talking more about why he wants to be the head coach of the Jets.
If you go coach the Jets, Rex, we are going to – I said this on the air last week. I have no idea what's going to happen with the whole thing, but you obviously have made no secret of the fact of your interest in doing it. I said it will break my heart on some level not to sit next to you on Mondays and now Sundays as I've done, but when you have a friend that you love, you got to wish him that he gets what he wants. So from the bottom of my heart, if that's what you want, I hope that it happens.
Man, I hope it does. I really do, Greeny, because I think getting another shot, I mean, there's one thing I'm missing, and that's to win a Super Bowl as a head coach, and that's what I want. And that'd be the only reason I would go back in. And the organization I want to do that with is the New York Jet because I bleed green and white.
You grew up in it. People don't know that. When you were a kid, your dad, Buddy, was an assistant coach on the Jets. That's where you grew up.
Absolutely. Won Super Bowl III. And so it is in the family. And so, this is our football team. my dad would always wear. He was, known for that 85 Bears and all that. Yeah, the funny thing is, what ring did he wear? Super Bowl III ring all the time. So this organization means a lot to me, and hopefully I'll get that opportunity, and maybe somebody else goes with me.
Well, we'll see. Maybe a bunch of somebodies. I'm not giving you permission to take my whole team, okay? I'm letting you go. I'm not letting you take everybody.
So that comment is interesting to me because it almost sounds like Rex obviously was insinuating Tannenbaum will go with me, right? That's how I read it. Like Rex obviously knew Mike Tannenbaum was going to be involved in this. I don't think Rex was caught off guard by the announcement that Tannenbaum's a consultant. Rex is going to get a chance. I'm not saying it's the right move or the wrong move. I'm willing to hear him. I want to find out about his staff and what he'll do differently this time and all that. Maybe Rex will bring in Dan Orlovsky, someone wrote, as part of the offensive staff. All right? I'll listen to that. Bellwell just joined the Patreon, and he's calling the show right now. What's up, Bellwell? I'm assuming that's Bailey who just joined. What's up?
Yes, Bailey. What's going on, Jake? Love
Hey,
the
I
show.
appreciate you joining the Patreon, man. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Got some interesting guests on here too. I'm a Packers fan, so this is like my second year watching the show. So really here for Rodgers, not to pivot away from you're talking about the coaches and the GMs and everything, but Rodgers and his future. To me, it I don't know. It seems premature to like blow up the whole Rodgers experiment here before again. You look at some of these games, other than I think the 49ers and what the Cardinals, most of these games were lost with one score, and a couple things go right. You're at least 6-5 right now, if you have a kicker and all these different things. I just I don't know what quarterback gives you a better shot, and this roster is just too good. I think it's you fix the coaching, you fix some of the cultural things here. I still think this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. I don't know if how you feel about it.
I just don't know what version of Rodgers we're going to continue to get. Like I clearly think he's banged up playing through injury.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
that's why I hope he plays this week, right? They don't shut him down or they don't cut him like it was floated out there by someone. Like, I hope he plays this week and he's healthy and he resembles what he was in that Patriots game in week 3 or close to it. You know what I mean? Like because he's going to have to put together some good performances down the stretch to even justify the long-term cap ramifications of keeping him around. And I see in the comment here from Jets Johnny, we didn't get Rodgers to be 6-5 even in your best case. That's true, but that doesn't mean, Johnny, they couldn't peak at the right time, get hot down the stretch, and go on a run like plenty of teams have done. But, to his point, and basically the point about this team going forward, like, he's another year older. He's banged up this year. He was banged up his last year, as you know, in Green Bay. Like, that's typically what happens with older quarterbacks. They're more susceptible to injuries.
He's 41.
So it's tough. I need to see him play. I love the guy. I don't blame him for a lot of what's happened this year. I need to see him play a lot better if we're going to justify bringing him back for another year.
Yeah. I think, to keep him healthy too, that line it's got to do a lot better. And I think the schemes put together by the offensive coaching staff so far has put him in harm's way and affected his play a lot more than we give it credit for. I use the 5 and 6 thing just because the kicker missing the extra field, but obviously most of these losses is we're shooting ourselves in the foot. It's 100%. Not really it's hard to point it like just at Rodgers or at the offense or at the defense. It's like every week they seem to find a new way to lose. And I don't know. I live on Long Island, grew up on Long Island, but I was always a Packers fan. And oh man, I got so invested in this team over the last 2 years, and it is brutal. It is brutal every week, man. I'm just like miserable on Monday.
Yeah, look, it's been tough, and it's certainly not all Rodgers. But at the same time, you were brought in, or he was brought in, to basically go win you some of these games. Like, yeah, the rest of the team is screwing up, but he's going to bail you out because he's still, a top 12 quarterback, top 15 quarterback. Like, he's had, 4 chances with the ball in his hands at the end of the game to go and at least win the game. And it's not all his fault, right? They missed the kick against Denver. He did his job there, but Zerline missed. But, like, The old Aaron Rodgers, as you know, if you're a Packer fan, like he's not
Would have
going 0
won
for
a
4
lot
in those
of those.
situations.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see that too, but I kind of, when he came here, I think the whole idea for him was probably like, hey, this defense is going to be so good. I only need to score like, 20 plus points and we're going to win all these games. And at 41 years old, it was like, yeah, let me just manage the game. I won't turn the ball over, and the defense is going to do the rest. Like, they just need someone to manage. And it's, I don't know. I mean, the defense was so good last year, and I don't know. You probably have a better idea of what happened. I can't understand how, last game, it's like whatever we gave up. I think we scored 28. What was the final score? 28-30. And I'm like, the defense of the last like 2 or 3 years for the Jets never has looked like that.
Yeah. Look, it's unfortunate what's happened, but bad personnel moves, injuries. I mean, that's been the biggest thing. And they're poorly coached too. I mean, you fired the head coach who had a lot to do with the defense. And when I would defend Saleh, it was like, it's all Ulbrich. And I never understood that rationale. So when a bad thing happens on defense, we blame Saleh. But anything good, it's Ulbrich? That's not fair. Like, that was always my argument for keeping Saleh going into this year if they weren't going to fire both GM and coach. It was either they both go or they both come back. That was my take. And the argument for leaving Saleh in place was he's never had a quarterback, and the last couple of years they've had a top 3 defense. And they fired him, and the defense took a huge hit, and we've seen that. And Saleh at least was an expert on his side of the ball. Like, Adam Gase was supposed to be an offensive genius. The Jets' offense was 32nd both years, right? Saleh at least proved he could coach defense. He's going to get a defensive coordinator job this offseason in 5 minutes if he wants one. So the coaching got dismantled. The personnel, especially up front on the D-line, got decimated. That's on the general manager. And they also had some injuries, like losing Jermaine Johnson in week 2 was brutal. That's a huge loss for their depth. He was their best all-around edge player. Hassan Reddick didn't get here until the season was lost. He didn't play in his first game till they were 2-5 against New England. And as we all expected, he's not what he was because he didn't have a full training camp. I mean, has Hassan Reddick impacted the game? He had one good game against Houston. And I think that had a lot more to do with the fact the Texans' offensive line stinks than Reddick figuring something out. It was a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, the defense is not what it was. There's no doubt. Good call by Bailey there, though. Call back anytime, Bailey, and thanks again for joining the Patreon. Let's say hello to Jay Graves. Hello, Jay Graves.
Hey, what's up, Jake?
What's up, Jay Graves? How are you?
I'm good. I'm out here doing Christmassy things, trying to get some lights up. But yeah, I figure it's nice. It's a nice day here in the Jersey Shore, so I might as well take advantage. But yeah, I made how I feel about Mike Tannenbaum very clear in the past. I'm not going to rehash that. I mean, I do like that we're bringing football people in, but are these the right football people? That's I know Tannenbaum made some good decisions like while he was here, but his takes on when he's on ESPN are trash. They are trash, and I can't stand him. But I'm going to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's all we can do as Jets fans.
It's a different job on TV, right? He's supposed to come up with a big opinion and have. I mean, it's different than actually knowing what questions to ask a prospective candidate about being a GM in the New York market and how you're going to handle the New York media and how you're going to handle the quarterback situation. Like, these are things Mike went through that are valuable in a room. And it's not just him. Spielman is also in the room, and he did this last year for the Commanders.
I do like that he's in the room, too. I like that it's not just Mike T. So I know it's his company, so he'll be involved, but I'm just like, really? But that's my pessimistic Jets side. I can't help it sometimes.
Look, I get it. No, the Jets could cure cancer, and there'd be fans saying they didn't do it fast enough. So, it is what it is. They got to win football games. That's the only way this narrative changes.
Good. And that's all I got today. Hope everybody has a nice week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I don't know if I'll call back before that, but yeah, that's all I got for you today, Jake. Have a good one.
Graves, great call. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims. More of your calls. Let's say hello to the great Steady Eddie, Edward Ziff. Hello, Edward.
Hey, how you doing there, Jake?
Edward, can you adjust the mic closer to your mouth, please?
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks, man. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, bud. At least you're back in New York now. You're gonna get to have, be with your friends and family. So that's pretty cool. You're not in exile out in Houston anymore.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Thanksgiving in Houston was fun because I didn't have to be around my family and the weather was nice. So I'll say that.
Yeah. Are you guys doing the roast or a fried turkey this year?
It's a good question. I don't know. I have a take that has pissed many people off over the years. I've said on the radio. I think turkey is one of the most overrated foods of all time. I think we only eat it because the Pilgrims did that. If the Pilgrims decided to have steak, we'd be talking about steak the same way we talk about turkey, and we all would be way happier. So I actually eat steak on Thanksgiving every year.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that a wild turkey tastes better than one of those factory turkeys, because a couple of years back, we're going, back when I was in my late 20s, I had a crazy girlfriend, and her family lived out in Pennsylvania, and we had a fresh farm turkey, and that was absolutely delicious. That was good, yeah.
Is it true you would chase the turkeys down back in your day, Edward?
Back in my day, what the hell? I'm a suburban. I'm from Seaford, dude. You're from Syosset. I used to work up at that. So you get off the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway onto the last exit, and there was that the park up there. What do you call it? The park, and I worked at Erickson up there. So, yeah, that's what I did. But anyway, I don't know about that craziness. But, yeah, but we were talking about that on Boy Green this morning. He apparently, Boy Green hates ham. He thinks it's disgusting. He's never had a fried turkey, and everybody was telling him how good fried turkey is. So it really is. I think that's the best way to make a turkey. Soak it for a couple of days in brine, and then you
Oh, no.
Really?
This call was just getting good. Edward, you hit a dead spot. Call back. We'll try and let you finish the call there. Love Edward. More of your calls. Let's say hello to Sean, who joins us. Hey, Sean.
Hey there, Jake. I know I haven't been on the stream in a long time, but as a Yankee fan, Jet fan, and due to the election, I just needed to kind of get off the internet for a while and kind of get back to what matters in life. Yeah, the Jets stink. I don't need to talk about that anymore. I do want to look to the future. I think Rex would be a good hire. If he can keep his foot out of his mouth, that'll help. He would restore the soul of the team and heal the locker room by keeping guys on their toes. So I think those are all great qualities. And then bring in Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. He's a former Jet. If he wants to get back to the NFL and repair his reputation and get back to a head coaching job, I think that would be good for him.
Well, he's an OC for the Commanders right now, doing a good job with Jane Daniels. So why would he take a lateral move?
Well, because he wants to show that he can work with a really sucky quarterback. So, which is presumably what we will end up having. So he can do that, kind of take a step back,
Sean, I don't think it works that way, but I do appreciate the perspective.
Yeah, that was just a bad take because I've been living underneath the rock for the last month. Completely forgot he was the OC in Washington. So that's on me 100%.
Sean,
yeah,
excellent call. All right. Your foot was on the gas pedal with those takes. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of the jokes were a little corny, but that happens to people's feet sometimes, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, you know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy, Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy, Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy.
I mean, there you go. Great call by Sean there. Mock with a super chat. Hey, Jake, Stefanski couldn't do it with Cleveland. Why do you think he could do it with the Jets? He'd be great as an OC for Rex. What do you mean he couldn't do it with Cleveland? You would say making the playoffs twice and being the coach of the year is not doing it in Cleveland? Is it his fault Deshaun Watson became one of the worst quarterbacks in the league? Is it his fault they traded away 3 ones and gave him the largest contract a quarterback has ever received, all guaranteed, which wrecked their cap? That's his fault? If Kevin Stefanski got fired, he should be the number 1 target for the New York Jets. He's won the Coach of the Year award twice. Look what he did with Flacco last year. Did you watch Flacco on the Jets? And then look what he did last year in Cleveland. Stefanski, 11-5 his first year, 8-9 year 2, 7-10 his third year, 11-6 last year. They're 3-8 this year. I don't put it on him. Come on. Kevin Stefanski can coach. 2-time Coach of the Year. He ain't taking an OC job for the Jets. He'll sit out a year if he doesn't get offered a head coaching opportunity by someone, which I'd be shocked if he didn't, but it could happen, right? We all thought Vrabel was going to get a job in 2 minutes. He didn't. Yeah, if you tell me he'd be great as an OC with Rex, sure. Why would he take that job? He wouldn't. Kevin Stefanski would not be a good hire. It'd be a great hire. More of your calls right now. Philly Noodles is next. Hello, Philly.
Hey, what's up, Jake? Sexy Rexy videos. It's too much.
We have the new emoji now, baby. It's live.
I saw it. This shit is fire. So few things. First thing, I'm down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved here, transplanted from Long Island 2 years ago. Smoked turkey. Put that on the list. If you haven't done it, smoked turkey. Fire. So, one thing, the Aaron Rodgers thing, I love how we can't help but like talk about it, but people got to understand he came here, got what he wanted, got his OC. He ran highlight play packages of what he used to do in Green Bay. It didn't work because his legs don't work the same. I don't think any coach, I don't think Tannenbaum is going to be there and saying, you know what, it might be a good idea. He'll probably tell him to cut the losses in 2 years instead of 1, just so a GM has more flexibility with money come the first year if they're trying to retool quickly, I think. But I was going to say I would love Stefanski. Like, it's really odd to see what's going to happen with Vrabel.
But hold on, Philly. Tannenbaum's their job is done once they make these hires here. Like, they're not sticking around. That's it.
No, I know that. I'm saying I think it's so ultimately if you're having him as a consultant, the question is going to be asked to that person and to themselves. Would you rather split this 2-year fold the money and make it work with whatever you can do with whatever money's left over for 2 years, or would you rather cut bait in 1 year? I think that's a big question they're going to ask a GM. Like, what could you get done? No. Yeah, Rodgers' contract. Yes, if we cut him loose, meaning do we take the hit for 2 years or for
that's not even the
1?
question. That's not even the question you ask first. The question you ask is when you evaluate this team and how Rodgers has played this year. How do you feel about him being back for 1 more year as the starting quarterback, or would you cut bait and move on? I mean, that's where you start, and then you get into all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if, like everyone else is thinking, if you're going to go Rex Ryan, of course he would say leave Aaron because, you're not going to give Rex a long leash. I don't think they're going to. I just don't think it just because the defense is there. We've seen him do it with Mark Sanchez, but again, no matter how Mark Sanchez was years ago, first off, it was a different NFL, and he had legs underneath him. He was young. I don't think everyone's understanding how detrimental, even if Rodgers has been hurt, he hasn't said a single thing about it and has avoided getting scans or just getting, healthy. That's not a good look because we could have maybe, pulled out 1 or 2 games with Tyrod. We'd have a whole different season right now. Not to say he was getting benched, but just, not even an IR stint, just to recuperate 2 games. We don't know. But all that coming into play and everything the way it's been done this season, I don't see him coming back. Him coming back with a whole new regime just doesn't make sense. I do see them hopefully looking far and beyond, and the fact they're doing it now is detriment I mean, it's not a detriment. It's actually a good thing for Woody. I think everyone should be happy. Period. End of story. That we're trying to take care of something early versus in the middle of the offseason. So kudos. Hopefully it all works out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got to get these hires right. I mean, today's an example on why it was the right move to fire Joe Douglas last week. So you could start the process. It's a good move. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's a good move. Mock writes in, Stefanski undoubtedly better than Gase, but it feels like it. No, come on. Come on, Mock. There's not one person who will agree with you on this. And I love you. Thank you for the super chats. I truly appreciate it. I won't even send you the stupid town for this because November's been a tough month. So I appreciate the $5 here. But come on, man. You cannot compare Kevin Stefanski to Adam Gase. Gase had a playoff season his first year in Miami. The next two were big failures. Then he goes to the Jets, and it was horrific. Stefanski made the playoffs in Cleveland twice. You know how hard that is to do? Have you looked at the history of the Browns? It hasn't ended up as a circus. He's not the reason why Deshaun Watson went from a top 5 quarterback to horrific. You kidding me? This can't be real. It has not ended like a circus. If Stefanski's fired, you hire him in a second. It ended poorly for Andy Reid in Philly. Do you think the Chiefs regret hiring him immediately? Come on now. Stefanski, you can't even compare him to Gase. That's nuts. No way. Stefanski's number 1 on my list if he's fired. I don't think he's going to be fired. I hope he does. Bang Mateo says, only the Jets hire a GM they fired to help find the new GM. I don't think this is a bad idea. Look, the Jets can do anything and people are going to complain. All right? I'm sick of it. Mike Tannenbaum is not the only person assisting ownership. Rick Spielman's in that room too. He did it last year for Washington. You going to complain about Adam Peters and Dan Quinbang? They literally are doing what you asked for, hiring football people to help make the decision. Give me a break. Bronx made, thanks to the $1.99. Super chat from Derek. How's Mekhi Becton playing in Philly? Does that fall on Keith Carter, or is that just same old Jets luck? Well, I think it's a combination of both, right? Like, Becton's playing well. He's also playing guard, which the Jets never had him do for whatever reason in New York. Keith Carter is a bad offensive line coach. That we know. And some of it is jet luck because Becton's been healthy this year. Whereas with the Jets, he wasn't healthy. Sean writes in, Jake, what's your take on Jake Paul wanting to fight Bobby Midnight? I would watch. Hopefully Jake Paul would be willing to come on the Bobby Midnight program to help sell the fight beforehand. Jay with a funny comment here. You see Saleh help turn around the Packers offense? Yeah, Robert Saleh, baby. Packers offensive consultant. Jordan Love was nothing until Robert Saleh walked in the door. More of your calls right now. Indy Jets is next. Hello, Indy.
Hey, Nick.
Indy? Indy, I'm not going to lie to you. The internet is not great right now. We're teetering. Uh-oh. It might be getting worse. Have you thought about connecting to the Wi-Fi, Indy? Call back. We'll try again. Real quick, because we like this guy, Mr. Bonesy's called back expressing a quick point he wants to make. So it better be quick, Bones. Hello.
Very quick, very quick. First, Stefanski's not getting fired. They even let him bring in Vrabel, who's now on the sideline helping him coach. So Stefanski's not getting fired, in my opinion. But this call is about one thing, and it's Aaron Rodgers. The Aaron Rodgers hate is getting a little too much. I mean, right now, 6 games left. He's currently number 4th in our history of touchdown passes. And When's the last time that
No, he can't be. He's fourth in a season with 17 right now.
Yeah, McCown's 18, Sanchez is 26, and Fitzpatrick holds it.
Chad
Those
never had
are-
a year where he threw more than 20 in a season.
Hold on, maybe you're right. I was just looking. I didn't look at Chad. What Chad must have his 1 year. I think he did.
Chad threw 22 touchdowns in 2002 when they won the division.
Okay, so then I'm wrong on that.
And only 12 games started.
I missed Chad. I forgot about Chad.
What about
you? Got me.
Yeah, it didn't sound right to me. Ken O'Brien's got to be on that list too.
I'm just maybe I was just looking in the last 15 years before when we got since Sanchez. I was just looking past the Sanchez years. So since Sanchez.
Yeah, but that's not. But the bar is low. They've had historically bad quarterback play. So Aaron's not Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold his last year. Great. Or Greg McElroy or whoever.
I just feel like we're hating too much. This guy put a lot on the line to come here.
I don't think I'm hating on him.
Not you. I'm not talking to you. I'm fighting with Jay Quest, my man, Rob V, Cactus Johnny, all my guys that I'm talking. It's nothing to do with you, Jake. It's nothing. I know how you feel, but I'm just talking about my guys that are just turned so fast on Rodgers, where everyone's saying that Rodgers only could have came here. We were his only choice. We had to give up premium picks to get him. Other teams wanted him. He wanted to come here. You think he would have had his best friend traded in the midseason if he wasn't really trying? This guy is playing hurt. It's going to come out after the season that he's been playing with significant injuries that we didn't know about. Rodgers has had bad games in his career before, and then he comes back and throws 6 touchdowns the next week. We saw a healthy Rodgers in week 3 against New England when he was able to roll out and make plays with his feet. He hasn't done that since. Even he's saying he's feeling better from the cayenne pepper. He still can't really move like he was. He's still playing. I guarantee something's going to come out with his injury, what's going on this year. And I just feel like we forget how bad it was recently, for a while with quarterback play. And I just think we always think grass is greener on the other side, and we're very quick. Even with how bad it's going to hurt with the cap next year, in 2026, Joe Douglas set it up that the cap's going to open up ridiculous in 2026. So I'm not worried about the what is it? You said 63 to 49, right? So the 14 million in dead cap. I'd rather have an Aaron Rodgers who can give us 20 to 25 touchdowns. And if he's healthy, who knows? Rather than
the pushback would be, 1, we have no idea if the bye week even made him healthy. We'll see how he looks. And 2, he's going to be 42 at the end of next year. Chances are he'll be dealing with a bunch of injuries again next year. This is what happens when you get old.
But if we were able to play say a team who can run the ball and play
why
good
can't Tyrod
special
do that
teams
next year?
Because Tyrod will give us 6 to 8 quarters if we're lucky. That man cannot stay healthy.
Also,
I don't know.
you missed Favre's 22 touchdowns in 2008, by the way.
It was I only looked up to before Sanchez. That was what I did. I looked back up until the past about 15 to since Sanchez. I looked. You're right. I didn't go back. I wasn't talking. I didn't mean to say in history. I just looked back to the Sanchez times. How bad it's been since with McCown and Fitzpatrick doing it and all the mess we've been through. We turn on people too quick. We're turning on Rodgers too quick. He doesn't deserve us to turn on him.
They're 3-8. I think we're just being realistic here. He's
Is
banged
that
up.
Rodgers' fault though?
No,
That's not
part of it
Rodgers'
is.
fault.
Part of it is.
Field goal 3, defense 2.
He's supposed to play better so it doesn't come down to these things. That's the whole point. That
he's playing on one leg though.
Right, I get it, but he's supposed to rise above some of this stuff. That's part of it. And also, okay, he's playing on one leg. How do we know he's not going to be dealing with a bunch of knee and hamstring injuries again next year? Let's look at Rodgers' last 3 seasons now, right? It's unfortunate, but he was banged up his last year in Green Bay. He got hurt 4 plays in last year. This year, he's been banged up from week 4 on. Next year, he's just going to magically be healthy. He's going to continue to deal with injuries. He's old. That's what happens when you get old.
I would prefer him over any other bridge quarterback, regardless of the cap hit. I don't care about the cap hit.
But the cap hit is a big part of the conversation, though. That's the thing. If it's just, would I want Rodgers for next year or Gardner Minshew? Yeah, you probably could sell me on Rodgers next year with better coaching. But It's not just next year. Then we're now impacting our dead cap in 26 and 27 when the reality is I don't know if Aaron Rodgers right now is that much better than what Gardner Minshew or Tyrod Taylor or someone like that would be as a bridge next year. And the other thing I'll bring up is I'm willing to at least see what he looks like here, assuming he does play down the stretch. But if it's more of what we've seen, then no, I don't think you could justify bringing Aaron back. If he's truly got healthy over the bye and looks like he did when you and I were at the home opener together, then yeah, there's a legit conversation to be had there. But we're not there yet.
Now let me ask you this: if Rodgers wants to stay and he's willing to negotiate the money because he can, like he's done for us in the past,
but you can't
'cause he
negotiate
wants-
the dead cap.
there's nothing you can do about that. So that's not even.
Oh, it's locked in. Because then why wouldn't teams do that when all their players have already been paid?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't realize that. There's no way. I was thinking in my head if Rodgers wants to come back and give back some money to make it easier for us, because if he wants to win, he knows we can't be strapped paying him. So I was thinking he would probably do something.
But Bonesy, his cap hit next year is only $23 million. There's a difference in a dead cap and a cap hit. Like people think, oh, Rodgers going to count $49 million against the Jets. No, he's not. He's $23 million if he's on the team. He's $49 if he's not. But if he's on the team next year, then it's $63 million the following year. You see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense to justify keeping him around and pushing money down the line when chances are he's not what he was. We all see it, and I don't think this bye week magically makes him, the Aaron Rodgers of all. I hope he plays like he did against New England and they run the table and they're 9-8 and they somehow get in. That's best case scenario. We know that's not happening, so let's see how he looks here.
That's not happening for sure. I don't know, man. I think I'm a little faithful to these guys like I am with Joe Douglas. My love for Rodgers throughout my life, and then him putting his career on the line to come here where people are going to say, oh, it was the only place. I don't believe. We agree to disagree. There's no proof of that, so I don't want to even argue about it. We don't know his other options. We don't know how serious his other options were. I don't know, man. I love him. I don't want to give up on him yet. Sorry, guys.
Well, you don't have to give up on him yet. There's still 6 games left, and we'll see how he does Sunday. Go play great against Seattle, all right? Go play great. Look healthy.
We're not playing great against Seattle. That's a bad matchup for us.
Okay.
But we'll score 2 touchdowns. He'll throw 2 touchdowns because that's what he does.
I don't care about him throwing 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 touchdowns against the Colts. I didn't think he played well in the game. In fact, I thought he was awful for a lot of that game. Like, I don't care about the accounting stats. The eye test needs to tell me that he's moving around and can actually play the quarterback position at a somewhat high level. I haven't seen that since week 3.
We have to look at the stats sometimes, though, because the only thing you guys talk to me about is 30 and 64, and Joe Douglas passes the eye test.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He hired. I can't do this. Goodbye, Bonesy. I can't. Joe Douglas does not pass the eye test, actually. I thought you could argue he passed the eye test as far as getting an opportunity this year to turn it around and finally win because Aaron got hurt last year, right? Does he pass the eye test? Come on. Chat going in on Bonesy. It's tough to see because I truly love Bonesy. I consider him a friend. I know him personally. All right. I sat next to him in Vegas for an entire Jet Raider game. It was me and him. But I hate to see him like this, but he's lost his mind. It's sad. And I'm a Bonesy guy. Mock writes in, how would Stefanski be any different in New York? I mean, what are we talking about, Mock? How would any of these guys be different, right? Like, how would it be different? He wouldn't be saddled with Deshaun Watson as his quarterback in New York. That's how it would be different. Where are you finding a better coach than Kevin Stefanski if he's available, Mark? Who do you want them to hire? That's my question to you. Phil writes in, Jake, do you like Stefanski better than Dorsey? Dorsey would be a GM. Stefanski would be a coach. Phil, it doesn't make any sense what you just asked me. How about Dorsey as the general manager and Stefanski as the head coach? Hey, let's give some love to NB. That's Nicholas, who just signed up for the entire year to be a Patreon member. I appreciate the support, MB. Thank you to everyone who's joined the Patreon today. MB and Bailey joined during the show. Man, it goes a long way. Truly appreciate it. Sign up for the year like MB just did. You save 15% as well. So you make one payment, you get all the perks, and you're paid up. Mock suggests Flores. All right, I would take Brian Flores, but he's defensive-minded. I'll take Stefanski, who's the offensive guy. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Indy Jets and see if we can hear him this time. Hello, Indy.
Hey, is this any better?
So far, so good.
You know, hey, keep me in your thoughts, Jake. Not feeling real well today. I had a salad last night, and I think I think it's taking the best of me. I may just go have a cigarette and call it a day.
Look, be careful out there. You know how it works.
Yeah.
You have a salad, it could jump up and tackle you at any time.
You know, and I don't know how long this effect. I mean, it could be a lifetime of just after one salad. I don't know. I'm gonna have to call Gary and find out. Anyway, so they brought in Tannenbaum to evaluate talent. That's what we heard, right? To help evaluate the talent. But wasn't Tannenbaum? He wasn't very good at evaluating talent.
No, they brought him in. They brought him in to help interview GM and coach candidates.
Right, and he was the one that fired Mangini when Mangini was doing well. I think Mangini should stay. I don't think I just don't see him as being a good talent evaluator. He wouldn't. If you take away Brickashaw, his first 2 drafts, the rest of his drafts were trash.
Indy, it's more than just evaluating talent. It's putting a team together. He made good trades. He made good free agent signings. He built 2 teams that went to the AFC Championship game with a rookie and second-year quarterback. Like, he's qualified to be in the room and talk to a prospective GM candidate about the job of being the Jets GM when he did the job, and they haven't had success since he left. And it's not just him. Rick Spielman's in that room too. So let's
now see. I would be okay if they just put Spielman in there and just say I seem to trust him maybe a little bit more.
Why? Because you don't know anything about him. That's why. If you ask a Vikings fan, they're going to tell you all the bad moves Rick Spielman made too. He was there for 10 years. You don't think he made bad moves?
I think sometimes the unknown is better than the known. We know that Tannenbaum is not.
No, that doesn't make any sense. The unknown to you might be better. You just want to be ignorant to it. No, you bring in people who have had success in the roles that you're trying to find. It makes sense. They're not Mike. If they hired Mike Tannenbaum as the GM, I would go ape shit. If we're being honest, I think it'd be a terrible move. Bringing in Mike Tannenbaum to help Woody Johnson make a football decision that is so important is a smart move rather than just letting Woody fly by the seat of his pants after he tells you that thinking is overrated already this year.
Obviously, Tannenbaum is going to be better than a Woody. Than Woody going alone. I get that, but was there nobody better than Tannenbaum to help him with this decision? I don't know.
It's him and Spielman did the same job for the Commanders last year.
Yeah, and right, that's what I was saying. If it was just Spielman, I just don't think that Tannenbaum was never very good at evaluating at any level. Talent.
What do you mean? He's not evaluating the roster, the players. He's asking questions to candidates. He hired 3 coaches in his career that made the playoffs. That's not nothing.
Do you think Mangini would have been able to take the same team Rex had to the playoffs? Yeah, probably. So
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think you're discrediting Rex. I think Rex brought a mentality that team needed after they collapsed in 2008.
No, I mean, that was a.
They weren't the best defense in the league in 2008. I know Rex Ryan got there and he brought his guys with him. He brought Leonard, he brought Marquise Douglas, he brought Bart Scott, and they were #1 defense in football.
I agree. And still only one night. What they win? We were, 9 games. We won 10 games.
Yeah, because Mark Sanchez threw 13 touchdowns and had 17 interceptions as a rookie.
Yes, right. And so that's really not Mangini's 2008. That was a Favre issue where he just wanted to used the Jets.
We don't need to relive the 08 Jets or the 09 Jets. It's a different role that Mike Tannenbaum is fulfilling here.
Evaluating talent, though, is still evaluating talent.
He's not evaluating talent. He's talking to prospective candidates for a job he already did well, and he's also talking to candidates for a job that he knows what it's supposed to look like because he's hired 3 coaches that all made the playoffs.
And I'm saying I don't think that he did all that well as a GM.
It wasn't perfect, but neither was Rick Spielman, who you're like, if it was just Spielman, I'd feel great. I guess I got to bring on a Vikings fan to talk about all the bad moves Rick Spielman made.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to compare I think Joe Douglas has done a better job than
who drafted Christian Ponder. Oh, Rick Spielman did. Oh, whoa! It's a different job, Indy. Come on. I can't listen to him and go, Tannenbaum, he wasn't that great of evaluating talent. He's not doing that with the Jets. He's not the GM. He's on the committee that will ask questions to candidates. I don't understand what the pushback is. I love you, Indy, but we're going in circles here. John writes in, sign Jameis Winston. Pure entertainment. Ugh, I can't talk about Jameis right now. Green Bean, super chat. What's up, Green Bean? A-Rod's still okay compared to our history at QBs, but not enough to outweigh the BS headlines and consistent bad plays. That's where I'm at, too. Like, if Rodgers looks healthy down the stretch and plays great, I'm sure you agree with this, too, Green Bean. You're open to changing your mind on him. But just to bring him back as only the bridge, when Tyrod's on your roster and Aaron's cap hit only goes up the longer you wait, it doesn't make sense. Jersey says, at Bonesy, Rodgers first half versus Texans or Arizona or Indy. Yeah, I mean, good quarterbacks don't have the halves he had against those teams. Or the full game against Indy. Or the Arizona, I mean. I agree with that. Ralph writes in, assuming Rodgers is gone next year, which he should be, are you pro-drafting a guy or picking up a bridge guy? I'm pro-drafting a guy and having a bridge guy. Darnold, no thank you. It's not happening. Don't bother. Jameis, I'm open to, but you have Tyrod already. You have Tyrod, you have Jordan Travis, and I would draft a guy. Not in the first round, maybe in the second round, or maybe you trade back into the end of the first round, like what Baltimore did for Lamar Jackson. I'd be good with that. Also, I love when we talk about Mike Tannenbaum's resume. It's only just the draft picks or person. Like, that's much. See, we are trained as Jet fans to be like, well, look, Joe Douglas, look at the draft. Like, you could build a roster, but there's something called building a team, right? Coaching matters when you build a team. Look at the 2024 New York Jets. All right? It's also not just about drafting guys. It's trades. It's free agent signings. Mike Tannenbaum's free agent signings. Go look at them. They're pretty good. Alan Faniga, how'd that work? Damian Woody, how'd that work? Calvin Pace, Bart Scott, Jim Leonard, how'd that work? Trades, Cromartie, Holmes, Braylon. Free agent signing, LaDainian Tomlinson. By the way, trade, Thomas Jones. Don't forget about him. Led the NFL in rushing in 2009, and he's a friend of the show. It's not just drafting. It's also you got to hire people to coach the team. This guy, Mr. Reality, is such a bum. We have Tyrod. Here we go, overrating players. We're literally calling Tyrod Taylor a bridge quarterback, but we're overrating him. What should they go do at quarterback, Mr. Reality? I'm sure if you were running the team, Patrick Mahomes would start for the Jets next year, right? You fucking moron.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
Hand up. I lost my shit there. That's my bad. I apologize. But I can't deal with this nonsense. All right. And that guy's the worst in the chat anyway. Bum. Still a family show, but we're 2 hours in. So if you're still watching this at this point, God bless you. Because I can't do this anymore, man. I talk about this team every day for 4 hours a day. All right. If we're going to have people saying I'm overrating Tyrod because I called him a bridge quarterback, I don't know what to tell you. More of your calls right now before we wrap. Let's say hello to Six. Who's next? What's up, VI?
What's going on?
Thanks for the time, Six. That went well, much like Mr. Reality's points. Rob the Jet fan is next. What's up, Rob?
Mr. Delusional.
Mr. Dumbass.
Mr. Jackass. Allen saying that there's no way Ben Johnson is coming here. There's no way that Monken's coming here. We passed him by the last time. But yet, on the chat over here, Hire Dorsey, and maybe he'll convince Benjamin to come here. Come on. Give me a freaking break. Let me ask you a question, Jake. If we get lucky and get Vrabel to come here, okay, let's just pretend. Let's play the devil's advocate just for a minute. Do you think that Vrabel would be inclined to keep Aaron as the bridge, or do you think it would really go on the way he looks the next 6 games? What do you think would happen before I get to my other points?
I think it will come down to how Aaron looks over these next 6. If he plays well down the stretch, I think Mike Vrabel might say, give me Aaron Rodgers for a year. We'll draft the quarterback, and we'll be competitive next year right away.
That's what I say. You know what? Let's do the eye test for the next 6 games, Jake. Because you know what? If Aaron all of a sudden starts throwing off his planted foot and starts throwing downfield,
I mean, Rob, you're gonna know right away. It's gonna. How does he look Sunday? You'll know pretty early on.
Absolutely. So I'm saying again, if he throws off of the planted foot and he goes for more than 10 yards to throw, then you know what? I do want him back. I do, because I don't want to hear bite your tongue on Jameis. I can't believe you just said that a minute ago. That Jameis Winston. I don't want to see that jackass here at all. All that guy does is throw turnovers. You know, he's the type of guy who throws 4 touchdowns, then the next game he won't throw a touchdown and he'll throw 4 interceptions. I don't want anything like that crap. And the thing that I'm scared about now with the hiring of Tannenbaum, it's true. Tannenbaum, people are giving him a bum rap. But what I don't like, Jake, is lately, if you listen to Tannenbaum on ESPN and his takes and everything, he really doesn't sound like the sharp mind from 10, 15 years ago. He sounds like a total different person. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit scared of him hiring or suggesting hiring anyone. I don't know enough about Rick Spielman. You're right. I mean, I'm sure there's Minnesota fans that would push back about him, saying the good and the bad. But you know what? It's kind of like what you're setting us up for. I almost think you're setting us up for it, because you keep on showing that Rex, sexy Rexy thing, that it's a possibility that he can be our coach again. And if Tannenbaum even says, hey, you know what, Woody, let's hire Rex again, I would not be a happy camper at all. The only person I would take Rex Ryan over is Aaron Glenn. And that's because Aaron Glenn is wet behind the ears. He's defensive coordinator. He's not ready for this type of a job yet. I mean, he could be someone good in the future. I don't know. It's not that
he might be ready, but I prefer someone with experience. I mean,
right. I'm saying I don't know. I mean, he could be something in the future. I don't think he's ready for this type of a job right now, nor do I want back to Rex Ryan again. I really think that would put a media show here, a clown show here. I think the Jets would be that much more ridiculed. You're going to be hearing it from everyone.
I mean, have they not been already ridiculed?
It's going to be worse, Jake.
There's actually a lot of, but you know what? I'll tell you what, ESPN causes a lot of that, and they love Rex over there. A lot of the guys on TV will probably support Rex. I mean, they won't be that critical, at least early on. Even Chris Canty, who despises the Jets, when they fired Salah, said Rex is the guy they should hire.
I mean, you know, again, you know where I'm at. I want Vrabel, of course, and Vrabel's going to be probably hard to get. I was on Nick's show. You know, I was on Nick's show yesterday, and I would just throw the checkbook at him and give him total autonomy. I'm not butting in. It's 100% your show. And just at least try. And then if there's a flat no, there's a flat no. And I get it. But then, you know what? Then you could work harder to try to get a guy like Todd Monken, because he is offensive-minded and he's brilliant offensively. And, you know, Stefanski, I don't think is getting fired, Jake. But if he was out there, would I go after Stefanski, who won Coach of the Year twice? People are nuts who saying that he's not a good coach. You're crazy. He's a good coach. I would definitely go after him too. I agree with you. But if not, I would go after someone like a Monken. And then, I'm sorry, this is a pushback on Dom C. I mean, he's nuts saying that Nagy wouldn't be a bad choice and stuff. Come on. What are you drinking? Nagy would be a horrible choice for the Jets. I would not want to see that guy. But, you know, out of these candidates, you know, I want Vrabel. Stefanski was available. He would probably be my second choice. And, you know, again, I like a Monken. Ben Johnson's not coming here, Alan. You know it and I know it. You said it before, even though you're contradicting yourself on the chat here. So he's not coming. So why even dream about it? You make the phone call, I guess, right, Jake? You at least try.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, I would try and get Ben Johnson, make him say no, and then, you move forward. I think Ben Johnson's only going to a place that has a established quarterback in place. I think we've seen that. I think he would take the Cowboy job, assuming he wants to deal with Jerry Jones. I think he would take maybe even the Jacksonville job, depending how he feels about Trevor Lawrence. If he's high on Caleb Williams, thinks he could fix him, I think the Bears job's attracted to him. You're not going to get him here with the Jets. Devin wants to know, how do I call? You hit the link, Devin. It's pinned in the live section, live chat, the comments. Mike Vrabel remains my number one. Stefanski moves to number one if he's available. Brian Flores is high on my list. Todd Monken's high on my list. I know he's never been a head coach before, but he's been around a while. He's 58. He's not like some boy genius guy. And then Rex. Rex is probably number 5 for me. Bijan is next. What's up, Bijan?
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
Living the dream, Bijan.
I can imagine. So I'm actually okay with hiring Mike Tannenbaum and particularly Rick Spielman. I know they're not perfect, but in terms of getting somebody competent and hiring, in the ballpark of competent people to run this organization, I'm much happier with that. I wonder if this takes them out of the running, though, for getting some sort of president of football operations, because isn't this what they would be like kind of doing, just trying to find the GM, to find the coach? So I'm curious of that.
Bijan
are really wanting Rodgers to stay, but I think it's time to pull the plug, not only in terms of salary cap, getting rid of the Rodgers contract, getting rid of the Mosley contract, the Adams contract, but just in terms of all of this drama. And every other week it's a Diana Rossini article, and it needs to stop. There's no way this team can function and win when you have all of these articles at every stage, and it's not worth the head.
Why are the articles coming out, Bijan? Because the team's losing. The articles didn't come out until the team started losing. They had the wrong people in charge. You mean to tell me if Robert Saleh was winning, there'd be an article coming out that would be slandering the Jets? No, because people talk when they get fired. The guys who got fired weren't good at their jobs ultimately. Now, it was a mistake to fire Saleh as early as they did. In hindsight, I think we all could acknowledge that. That said, the idea that the Jets go 8-9 this year, Douglas would have been fired, Saleh would have been fired, and these same stories would have been written anyway. So they're just coming out earlier than expected because they did the firings in season.
Yeah, maybe it's just the whole, they're the Jets and people are just going to dog on them until they win. I
think
the
Knicks, that was the Mets, and then they hired the right people and changed the perception.
Dolan is even more nutty than Woody, so I totally agree with that. Hopefully these Tannenbaum, Spielman can guide these guys in the right direction. Every time we've had a Parcells person, I know this is like 20, 30 years ago at this point, but that was when they were semi-competent. You had you had Terry Bradway, who Parcells recommended. You had Tannenbaum, obviously. Bill Parcells was a huge fan of Rex Ryan. So I'm not saying that Parcells is the answer, somebody in the sphere of influence, but hopefully that will help. And I think we got to reset the cap, get rid of these bad contracts, have Tyrod as a bridge, and really bank on 2026. I know nobody wants to hear that, but cap wise,
they have cap space, Bijan. They have $80 million in cap space if they make some of these cuts you're talking about. They have all their draft picks. Like this idea, I think it's a narrative that the media has put out there. It's not true that the Jets are screwed. Their future's screwed. Not really. They didn't have a quarterback before Aaron Rodgers. They still don't. I mean, unfortunately, with Rodgers, he hasn't played like Aaron Rodgers, so they haven't had the quarterback we thought we were getting. Jets have all their draft picks, and they have a lot of cap space. And they have a nice young core that is already in place this time around. That didn't exist the last time they had openings at GM and coach. So, I mean, got to figure out the quarterback situation, but you need better coaching in general. Devin with a super chat. Can't figure out how to call, but the only thing that scares me with Tannenbaum, I'm sure this is like an autocorrect, with Tannenbaum, wasn't he the one suggesting trading Garrett Wilson? Once again, he's not the GM, and I can't keep track of what takes Mike Tannenbaum might have said on TV or radio. He's not the GM. I don't think people realize this. I'll say it again. Mike Tannenbaum will not be the Jets general manager. Him and Rick Spielman will help assist ownership on vetting candidates and be in the interviews. There's a big difference. Let's say hello to Six, who's next. What's up, VI?
Bro, what's going on, Jake? You know the funny part about most people is that they act like they never been fired from a job and then go out to try to get another job somewhere else. You feel what I'm saying? Like when I look at Tannenbaum, mostly everything that he says on TV now is probably what's giving that nasty taste in people's mouth about him. But when you look at the job title that's required of him in this role right here, which is finding a head coach that knows how to win, and then being a GM, understanding what's that look like from that standpoint, and he's had success in multiple locations, you have to just give him his credit, bro. You got to give him his credit. For me, I'm the one that sent you the clip about Rex on Instagram, right? I feel like everybody wants to worry about who his coordinators are going to be. We need to know every one of these fucking, every one of these guys as a candidate for head coach. We need to know who all their coordinators are going to be, because good head coaches fire coordinators all the time. Dude in Green Bay had to fire some of his coordinators. It's not like it's just a foregone conclusion that only Rex is the only one that has to show who his coordinator is going to be. It's a head coaching job that requires him to overlook everything. So that question needs to be asked at every candidate. We can't keep putting a special asterisk next to Rex name and then everybody else just get a free range. I just don't agree with that. I understand where Bones is coming from about Rodgers, but we have to understand he's just old, bro. I don't care if he has his good leg. I don't think you can have 6-7 weeks of having a bad injury and then get one off week and now you magically just gonna come back better. He's gonna be worse. You feel what I'm saying? Next year he's gonna get worse. Just ride it out with Tyrod. I think no matter what coach we could get defensively, that the Jets is fit for that role. Whether it's 3-4 or 4-3, all they need to do is find a fatty in the middle and free agency. And at that 10th pick, if it's top 10, try to get one, because there's a lot of DNs in this draft class. Find 2 new free safeties to start. I mean, not free safety, but 2 safeties to start. They're not far off. With a different mentality, Rex can come in here and change everything. You get the right people on offense, the offense doesn't need much either. Like you said, we got $80 million. $80 million. This thing is not something that's so like dreadful. It's dreadful in the process, but as far as the future, it doesn't have to be so like negative or looked upon negative, or this job isn't worth it and certain coaches won't want to come here. That's why I say mess with Rex. I love people who love me. You feel what I'm saying? It makes it that much more organic. It makes it that much more easier. We trying to convince people coming over here who don't want to be here. Fine, let them go about their business. Pick the guy that wants to be here, that knows what it takes, can actually win with him.
Six. I get it. I don't know if Rex is not the only guy who wants this job. There's narrative that no one wants this job is horse shit. It's not true. Rex is not the only person who wants to be the Jet coach. I promise you, they will interview some of these guys. A lot of people want to be coaches in the NFL. A lot of people would love to be a head coach and coach this roster. I promise you that. Maybe they can't get Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel, but that doesn't mean they couldn't get Brian Flores or couldn't get Kevin Stefanski if he got fired, or couldn't get Todd Monken. It doesn't have to be a complete teardown. It shouldn't be. There's some good players on this team. And they do have cap flexibility, and they have all their draft picks. The Browns traded 3 first-round picks and gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract that is ironclad they're stuck with. The Jets could get out of the Aaron Rodgers situation after 1 year and still have a first-round pick, second-round pick, third-round pick, fourth-round pick, fifth-round pick, sixth-round pick, seventh-round pick this year. Wrong verb. Good news. Tannenbaum and Belichick are very close. That's not good news. I don't want Belichick. I'm good. Belichick, please. Bring Rex back before we go Belichick. Rex Ryan's career winning percentage is higher than Bill Belichick's career winning percentage when Bill Belichick does not have Tom Brady as his starting quarterback. Belichick is 84-103 when Brady did not start at quarterback for him. I'm good. You know who beat Tom Brady in a playoff game with Mark Sanchez as his quarterback? Rex Ryan. Jets chaos, $72 million cap hit for the Browns in 25 and 26. There's no out. Yeah, and as bad as the Rodgers dead cap is, $49 million, they could spread it out over 2 years. Browns cannot do that. And it's a higher number anyway. I mean, once again, if the Jets move off of Aaron, they could take a $14 million charge next year and a $35 million charge the following year. And guess what? The cap goes up every year, so the $35 million is not as detrimental because you'll have more money. Anthony says, Jake, you're ungrateful to Rodgers when you were the biggest pom-pom cheerleader. How am I ungrateful to Rodgers? They're 3-8. He can't move. He's battling through injuries. And I'm simply saying that his salary cap hit in 26 and 27 doesn't seem worthwhile to deal with when he hasn't played well enough this year to justify coming back next year. I'm not saying cut him. I'm not saying get rid of him now, like many people are. I'm not even sitting here saying it's a foregone conclusion he's not here next year. I'm simply saying there's 6 games left, Anthony, and I would like to see how he looks off the bye week this week to see if he got healthy over the bye. And that's it. I mean, what are you talking about? And I'm still a fan of Aaron Rodgers and still a fan of the move to bring him in. What was the alternative? Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, run it back with Zach Wilson. Oh, wait, we did that because this GM was on his fat ass and couldn't get up and sign a competent backup after the season went up in flames 4 plays in last year, and they still could have made the playoffs if he signed a better backup. But I'm being ungrateful to Aaron Rodgers? Are you kidding me? I'm the only one being rational. You have half the fan base that says get rid of him now. The other half saying keep him no matter what. I'm saying how about we see what happens these final 6 weeks? Moron.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
All right, we're doing a
Good.
couple more calls.
Good.
Here, and then we're done. I can't take this anymore. And we have Will Pot coming on around 3:30 today. I might try and push it back. I need a break. I cannot deal with the idiots who are out there today. Go swim in your own filth. Philly Noodle says, all the AR fangirls stop. He got what he wanted. Rest in peace. Old age. Old age? I don't know. Thank you, Philly. Thanks for the $2. Johnny Boy's next, then Neil, and then Peter Castro. Hello, Johnny.
Jake, what's going on, bro? How you holding up, man?
I've been a lot better, Johnny. I've been tremendously better in my past.
Look, I have to say that with the Mike Tannenbaum and the whole Spielman hire, I love it, man. I think it's good. They're putting actual people that know football around Woody, because if that wouldn't have happened, Woody making this coaching, making the whole GM hiring and all that, would be all like pissed off and saying, oh, here we go, same old stuff. It's putting some type of stability into the conversation, at least in my end. And everybody talking in regards with, who's going to come over here and wants to coach this team or be a GM. I mean, why would you not? The reward and risk is so much more reward. You win over here, you're talking about the Messier conversations and stuff like that, never having to do that. So for myself, I'm excited to see what they're doing. Is the season over? I mean, yeah, it is over and all that. Prove Aaron Rodgers in the regards of what he should do for us. I mean, I'm one of the guys that I hope he does well, but as of right now, he hasn't. He's been playing bad. He's not been doing good and all that. I mean, we all want the stuff now. And unfortunately, I mean, it's New York, right? So I don't know, dude. I'm like I said again, I'm hyped with the Mike T hiring and with the other guy. And that's the other thing. They're not going to be the GM. They're consulting. I want somebody like that that's next to Woody Johnson and telling him, hey, this and all that. And plus, if he's not going to be here for the next 4 years and he leaves and all that, I mean, wouldn't you want those guys there consulting anyway, just in case if other stuff occurs? Or let's just say we run it back with Ulbrich or something crazy to that, which I don't think that's going to happen, right? I mean, you got guys that know they've been in the position, have done it before, and I mean, they've had success, right? I mean, they've had stuff that hasn't gone good for them as well, but that could be everybody, you know what I mean? So, Jake, keep doing your thing, bro. I've been watching from afar, man, just been crazy busy with the kids and the whole nine and stuff like that. Appreciate the content. You keep doing it. But, you know, I understand it's been a frustrating season for the fans and whatnot. But, you know, look, I'm all aboard for Flores, man. Bring Flores and give us a good OC Dable if he somehow comes out. Stefanski. Agnew, I would love it because of the whole Ben Johnson they have together. And Agnew has his son that's on the actual scouting team too. So that could be something to allure him over here. Anyways, Jake, I appreciate you, brother, man. Keep doing your stuff, man. And go Jets, baby. Go Knicks too, man.
Johnny, appreciate the call, man. I mean, people want these jobs. I was just looking it up as Johnny was talking there. So the highest paid NFL head coaches, Andy Reid, $20 million, Sean Payton, 18, Mike Tomlin and Jim Harbaugh tied for third at 16, McVay, 15, Shanahan, 14, Harbaugh, 12, John Harbaugh, Dan Campbell, 11, McDermott, 11, Mike McDonald, 9, Doug Peterson, 8.5, right? Go down the list. Now let's look at offensive coordinators. Todd Monken, $3 million estimated. Mike Kafka, $3 million estimated. Kellen Moore, $2.5 million. You see the difference? We're talking about a seismic amount of money that you make as a head coach. And you get a longer contract, right? If you're an OC, you don't have a multi-year contract. It's probably like 2 years at the most, 2 or 3 years. Any team that hires a head coach is getting at least a 5-year deal, paying them at the bare minimum anywhere from $5 to $6 million. So you're getting $30 million guaranteed the second you sign on the dotted line. It changes people's lives, that kind of money. So people will want these jobs. Now you got to pick the right people. And by the way, the Jets have hired the top candidates before, and it still hasn't worked. Just because the media tells you this guy's the number one candidate out there doesn't mean they're actually the number one candidate out there. Dan Campbell was mocked. How'd that work? Nick Sirianni's a pretty good head coach, too. I know he gets a lot of bleep thrown his way, but you know what? The guy wins. He's about to make the playoffs for the 4th year he's been a coach. 4th straight year. Went to a Super Bowl. I mean, the Eagles right now look like the second best team in the conference. Them or Detroit. Sirianni's first press conference, I remember people went nuts. Hit the like button if you're tuning in, and please subscribe to the channel if you're one of the 642 people in here. Let's see if we hit that number we were talking about earlier. We were trying to get to 40,400, and we just hit it. So thank you to everyone. Hit that subscribe button. 40,400. We're 600 away from 41,000. All right, couple more calls, and then we will wrap up the show. We'll be back in a few hours as the madness never ends, baby. Jets football. We don't win games, but we're always in the headlines. Let's see. My computer's a little frozen here. It's not moving. Hold on. Bear with me. All right, here we go. Neil's next. Hello, Neil. Neil?
I want you to laugh, Jake.
How
Let's
are
get
you?
like the other guy. What's his name?
You going full David Toledo on us?
David! Are you going to laugh, Jake? I want you to be in a good mood, Jake. I don't want you to be aggravated. Me and Peter Castro are going to pick up your spirits to end the day. Now, to end the show,
You know what? Let's just bring you on together then. Why not? Hello, Peter.
Peter, my boy. There he is.
Hey, Neil. How are you? How are you, Jake?
What's up, Peter? How are you?
Good. I think everybody should just relax. Let's
I
see what they
know.
do. Let's see what they do. And if we don't like it, we'll scream about it. I mean, we have no choice.
That's it.
Right? Who do you want, Neil? You know, what are you
Let
going to
me
do?
tell you. Let me say, so far so good. But let me just say this, and I'm going to go back to the coaching to beginning of the year. Okay, when Woody Johnson said he wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers after he got the shit kicked out of him, they should have put him on IR for 4 games. Let Tyrod Taylor play. He would have won at least 1 or 2 games, and Rodgers would have came back healthy with a good leg instead of a groin, a knee, and an ankle injury.
One
They should have
problem,
taken.
Neil. One problem.
What's that?
Who's going to tell him that he's going to sit out for 4 games?
That's the problem. That's where the
Yeah.
coaching's the problem. Nobody had
Exactly.
the balls to say to the guy. You and I would have said, you would have pulled out the gun and say, hey, Rod, go take a break, get down and do a ayahuasca, and sit on the sideline. Enough.
Yeah. And don't stand around with a push on either, because I'll
Right.
go in
Yeah,
the clubhouse
exactly. You
and do
can
that.
have the puss on. That's okay.
I
But
don't want to push. You know what? Just sit. You're out. You're hurt. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Go
Yes.
inside if you're mad. And if you want to quit, you could quit too.
yeah, but here's the other thing. And then let's go to Tyrod Taylor, another guy that was injured. But the Jets play these guys injured, and they can't play. And we got old-fashioned at the draft. And the bottom line is nobody made the decision to sit his ass down. So we would have had a decent offensive tackle to protect Rodgers so he wouldn't get hit another 10 times.
We need
Then
a
we had
strong
Brees
coaching
Hall.
staff. Strong.
Right.
You have to have a
Brees
good
Hall.
coaching staff.
Jake, Brees Hall, was he or was he not hurt week 3 or 4, where he went down to 3 yards a goddamn carry and we kept putting him out there? What week was that, Jake?
Well, at the beginning of the year, he didn't look like himself. I agree with your overall premise. This team has no spine because they have no coaching, so they don't hold any players accountable. And holding someone accountable could be, as you said, sitting down a guy who's hurt or not playing well. Tyron Smith should not have been allowed to start as many games as he did before they finally put him on IR and then played Olu Fashanu.
Now, what's going to happen is this. I don't know if Rodgers is going to come back healthy this coming Sunday. I don't know if he is hurt. Okay, maybe he needs 4 weeks. I would put him on IR now for 4 weeks, play in the last 2 games, see what he's got with a healthy leg. And I'm telling you, Peter, we cannot can Aaron Rodgers. It's the wrong move.
No, it's not.
I'm telling you, he could still play football. I'm telling you.
He can't get hit. He gets hurt right away. He's going to get hurt right away.
Wait a minute. Listen, he got hurt, but that's okay. Bottom line is everybody gets hurt. You would get hurt too. Anybody would get hurt, Peter. He got folded in half like a goddamn napkin.
And he should have been
Anybody
taken
would have
out.
got hurt.
And he should have been taken out.
But I still want him because he's still as good as he was when he played for the Patriots. He's going to be that good next year. Trust me. And as long as we have a good backup when he does get hurt, I'd rather have him and Tyrod next year than what? What do you want to do? Bring in the guy from the Bears?
Neil,
Piece of crap?
if the new coach says he stays for another year, I'm good with that. If he's going to stay for another year, get a good backup and get the other guy that we have that hasn't played this year that we drafted. You know what? Right. I'm good with that. But let the coach make that decision.
No, I get it.
We can't sit here and argue about this stuff because we don't know what they're going to do.
Right. But the problem is we're not going to see, I don't think, if Rodgers plays this week and gets the crack kicked out of him again and re-injures the leg, then we're going to end up getting rid of him. And I'm telling you, he'll come back healthy next year and light it up, just like Brett Favre did with the Vikings. He's going to come back. He's going to play well. He's not washed. I'm telling you, the guy is not washed. He's a stubborn bastard that plays hurt. Now
they're all scared to speak up to him. They're all scared. They can't say you're sitting down, Tyrod's coming in. That's the major problem with the whole team.
No leadership. There's
no
accountability.
Leadership. You can commit 14 penalties and walk off the field smiling, and nobody says anything. That's the problem. We need a tough friggin' coach. And if the coach makes a decision that Aaron Rodgers is going to stay, fine. If not, get him out of here. I don't care anymore. He didn't make any. They were 3-8 with him.
I get it. But they're going to be fine they're going to be fine. They'll get this thing fixed. They're not that far away. They just need a coach that's got, like you said, a pair of gonads that are going to be able to make the decisions. We need a leader. Robert Saleh's a cheerleader. You were right about that. The guy's a cheerleader. He was wanted to make friends with everybody.
Robert Saleh was a fraud. Olbrich is terrible. He's a terrible coach. I don't want him as a defensive coordinator. He's terrible.
No.
He don't blitz. He rushes 4 people. He's an idiot.
No.
We would have won 2 or 3 more games if he knew how to play defense.
What's the chat say here? Both of these guys still have newspapers delivered to their house. I still have milk delivered to my house. So what the hell's the difference?
Yeah, me too. You deliver milk. I don't care.
Anyway,
We're used to, they don't understand, Neil. We're 55 years we've been watching this stuff. All right, we've been watching this for 54. I've seen every coach they had. If you go back and you watch the Jets in the Super Bowl year, you see how everything is in unison. They go up and down. The line goes up and down, and perfect. Everything's perfect. All right, with Eubank, and we had a couple.
Eubank. Joe Namath was scared of Weeb Eubank, and he was the most obnoxious. He didn't listen to anybody, but when Weeb Eubank told him something, he listened.
You know what the problem is? All these guys are about the bag. They all want the bag, the bag, the bag. But they don't want to work for the bag. They put Sauce Gardner in the Hall of Fame as soon as he got drafted. You know what? He has no coaching, so maybe if he got a decent coach in there, he'd be all right. I think he would be. But they don't even turn around. None of them turn around. They're not playing anymore. They're not playing. They don't even tackle. They stink. They just stink.
He would have been benched with a good coach. They would have benched Gardner, and they tell him, listen, stand up at the line of scrimmage, start chucking guys at the line of scrimmage, stay on your thing, and make plays. The only guy that made plays on our defense this year is the guy that sits the bench. What's his name?
Eccles.
He's the only guy that is not playing. That's the only guy that turns over on the defense.
How about
and
when
he's
you
on the bench?
How about when you blitz with Quincy? He always gets there. He gets to the quarterback, but they never do it. Third and
here's
15.
another one. Here's another one, Jake. They keep playing Michael Carter II, another injured deer that's running around the field 5 yards behind the guy on the guy on the receiver. They're playing injured guys because I don't know what the hell they're doing. They have depth. Get the injured guy off the field. Period.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing either. They're afraid to change plays. What's his name? Jay Allen, the running back. He should be. When you got first and goal from the 5 or the 6, give him the ball 4 times. I guarantee he gets in the end zone.
Right.
He runs once and then he's throwing the ball 3 times out of bounds. The coaching staff is way off. Way off. They're terrible. They all got to go.
Changes are going to happen, Peter. That's all we could say. But I want to keep it together for one more year with a competent coach and somebody who could coach defense. Change it up, and let's go. Let's run it back, baby. One more time with A-Rod and Taylor. Let's get them healthy, and let's run it back.
Once we get Ulebrick out of here, my coaching choices are Babe Brill first. Then I want a Queensberry. Got to look at Monkey from Baltimore, and maybe Slow Dick in Houston.
What a job by Neil and Peter there. Incredible. Shout out to Gator for that one. Neil, great call. Peter, great call. I'd watch a show of those two. The OG Jet podcast. Let's make it happen. All right. You guys will record it once a week. I'll put it up on this channel and everyone can watch it. That'll be great. Just Neil and Peter yelling about the Jets and sharing old stories about the Weeb Eubank days. I love it. That was good, though. That was tremendous. Oh, my God. Purple Belt Mike writes in, imagine sitting in the middle of them on a train. Jeff C. is Peter Castro vaping. Castro, big vape guy, and Neil, obviously, with his signature cigar. Nate writes in, if there's a God, these two will end up in the same old man home in 20 years. Hamburger says, I'm cleaning my garage, laughing my ass off. Oh, my God. Nick Shine is upset that I ended the Neil and Castro show. We'll bring it back. I'm 2 hours and 38 minutes in. I have a bunch of things I have to do today that I didn't get to do because the Jets hired Tannenbaum and Spielman as consultants. Don't worry. Someone will come up with a show name for Neil and Peter, though. We'll get Gator to at least make an open so when we do it on this show, we can introduce them both with that. Uno says, best Jet show, period. Thank you, Uno. If you believe that or you just like the show, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so I can pay my bills this month. Thank you to all. Aurora writes in, just imagine a nurse taking care of these two at a nursing home. I love it. Neil and Peter are not that old, though. I just want to throw that out there. I met them both in person. All right, and we've seen Neil move, all right? To Neil's credit, Neil's not an old guy, all right? Neil still can get around. I've seen it. I've seen Neil at the tailgates we've done. I've seen Neil at T-Squared Social for the watch parties. All right? We got to give Neil some credit. Look at him move. I love it. And Neil's sons are tremendous athletes. So Neil's got some athleticism in him, I'm telling you. Rich says we're 2 likes away from 400. He's right. Hit the like button. There we go. Boom. We just hit it. Thank you. Tom Ace writes in, Neil can hump a jersey like a 25-year-old kid. That's true, too. We can't forget about that.
I think that guy I know, right?
I'm telling you, man. I mean, Neil's young. Look at this guy. I'll tell you what, though, that call by Neil and Castro, that's going to do numbers for them in this month's power rankings. As Maniac Madness coming in March, the monthly rankings will be out at the beginning of December for this past month. All right, I'm going to end the show. We're back in a few hours. I'll take plenty of calls with Will Parkinson. He'll join us. We'll get his thoughts. He actually knows Tannenbaum better than I know him, so we'll get into that. Anyway. Thank you all for watching. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show. We're back in a few hours. Subscribe to the channel. Join the Patreon. Get a hoodie or get any clothing from Public Rec. They're today's video sponsor. Shout out to them for being a part of the show. Go Jets, everybody. Hit it, Rex.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy, Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no Jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy, Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Ooh, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy. Ooh, he's sexy, Rexy, sexy.
Excuse me.